This is the Mad Dragons Podcast. Well, g'day, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Mad Dragons Podcast. The Dragons go into the game up against the top of the table Penrith Panthers. We're sitting right down at the bottom of the ladder. Absolutely no one gives us a chance in hell. The only place in the world we can win is Fantasyland. We go out there, we take it up to the Panthers. Unfortunately, though, Rob, at the end of the day, Fantasyland is exactly that. It's just a fantasy, and the Dragons weren't able to get the job done. Welcome to the panel, Rob Segurna. What did you think of that performance, mate?
I actually thought it was a fantastic effort by our boys. In all honesty, probably one of our best performances for this season so far against the Premiers. I really thought we stood up. The whole team across the park. I know there were some mistakes from certain players, and a couple of drop balls here and there, a couple of bad refereeing decisions. But look, all in all, I thought it was one of our best performances all season. And we're on the way up. I mean, we're running last at the moment, but let's look at the positive. After that performance tonight, against the best, we proved we could almost won that game. So we're going to look at the positive from the negative and be happy with the performance tonight, because I thought that was a great improvement, even on the close games that we've had in the past where we could have won. We only lost by 2, but we were playing a star-studded Penrith team tonight, and I thought we really canned ourselves really well, Donny.
Thanks, mate. Yeah, it is a pleasure to have you on. You're actually basically on by a popular demand. Everybody wants to have Rob Segurna on. You've been a great contributor in the comments on our show for a fair while now. So it's great to get you on board, and looking forward to hearing what you've got to say. But at the end of the day, an honourable loss is still a loss. So let's see who Hasman has in his sights.
Yeah, thanks, Donny. Now, this week's Heroes and Villains is going to be a little bit unusual in that there's actually going to be more heroes than villains. Now, we'll start with the heroes first, and Donny, you'll have to let me know if I've ever done this before. But this week, given the shit week that the club has had, to go out and put on a performance like that against the competition leaders, the 2-time reigning premiers, I thought was absolutely sensational. So for that reason, the heroes for this week are the entire Dragons 17, with the exception of Billy Burns, obviously, because it was absolute rubbish. Yeah, come on, Donny, come at me for that. Now,
not today, mate. Not today.
Now, let's get into the villains. Now, I feel like I probably need to preamble this by saying that this is purely my own opinion. This is just one man's opinion, all right? So what a tumultuous week it's been for the St. George Illawarra Dragons. We've seen Jason Riles reject a $3.2 million 4-year deal as head coach. And in the same week, we've also seen St. George Bank deciding to terminate their 40-year sponsorship effective the end of the 2024 season. So let's address the coaching situation first. Now, if you think back to Wayne Bennett, he wanted and was given full autonomy of the football department and won a premiership in 2010. Now, consider this. an ex-Dragons player who has studied under two of the best coaches of all time in Trent Robertson and Craig Bellamy and lives in the Wollongong area, has rejected a 4-year, $3.2 million contract because the board reportedly refused to give him the same autonomy as I think they're desperate to hang on to their power and their positions for as long as they can. Now, let's just address the sponsorship situation as well. So St. George Bank have made their decision to withdraw sponsorship due to the raft of off-field dramas such as JDB's rape charges, which were dropped, the aborted signing of Israel Folau, whose reputation at the time was on life support, as well as the infamous barbecue gate incident, where a large portion of the playing group attended a barbecue at a player's house in clear violation of COVID restrictions. Now, certain members of the board, namely Peter Dowse, whose 30-year tenure at the club cannot come to an end fast enough, and who reportedly was the only board member to reject Shane Flanagan as the new head coach, and CEO Ryan, the Invisible Man Webb, who seems to have a complete innate inability to give a straight answer. Surely their positions at the Dragons are at this point untenable. We are staring down the barrel of the joint venture club's first ever wooden spoon, and someone needs to be held accountable for that, and also for the 13 years of mediocrity, both on and off the field, that we've experienced since that 2010 grand final win. So for those reasons, Peter Dowse and Ryan Webb make the villains list for this week, and we as Dragons can only hope they resign before it's too late. Back to you, Donnie, in the central missionary position.
You've been practicing that. I can tell. You've just been in a mirror practicing that all week. Unfortunately, we didn't get to see your video. Seems to have frozen, but we got all the audio, mate. That all came through loud and clear. But we've just got your frozen face on the screen for most of that. But I think pretty fair comments. There's certainly you're lighting up the comments from the fans. A lot of different things and different opinions that are coming through. But normally now we'd go into the Mad Dragons Vodcast Player of the Year voting. We haven't really had a chance to do that. And it seems that most people, they want to get stuck into me. So I'll throw a question to you that allows others to get into me. Chloe, I'll go to you about Billy Burns. What did you think of Billy Burns' performance today?
Well, yeah, he had good moments and bad moments. I'm not going to knock the kid down. He's still learning, like these Muppets that think that their coach, I'm just going to be Ricky Stewart for now. Okay, guys, welcome to these Muppets that just think that they know football and things. Like, yeah, he did a few knock-ons, yes, but we played against a strong field of Panthers. They're premiers. We're last. And I think he had to go. Yes, he made mistakes, but you know what? Dust it off. Next week, he can have another turn because JDB won't be able to come back till after. So, you know what? Yeah, shoot me if you want, but I'm not going to knock a young kid down if he's young. There we go.
He's pretty young. What is he, 22, 23?
Yeah, see? He's going to learn. He's going to develop. It's like when you were kids. I used to play netball, then I went to AFL. I wasn't the best AFL person, but we all learn. So
yeah, at the end of the day, were you playing Suncorp Super Netball when you started? No. So Billy Burns is playing in the NRL. I know I've been a big supporter of his, but tonight's performance was dreadful. He doesn't need mugs like us telling him he was dreadful though. Like he came up with 4 or 5 just cold dropped balls.
Yeah.
The first one obviously meant that we went into halftime. Instead of going into halftime with a lead, we went into halftime level. And then there was other ones that put us behind. Like he constantly put us under pressure. So yeah, I don't think that performance was good enough. He gets an opportunity in the top grade. I thought he worked really hard, but he clearly tired. On a positive, And and like you said, Chloe, there were some positives. He ran for the most meters of any forwards in our forward pack, other than Frankie Molo. Frankie beat him by 2 meters. So
Wow.
Billy Burns, his effort in terms of the amount of work that he actually got through was not too bad. I thought he created a good opportunity for Tyrell Sloan, so he had that line break assist there. But it's unforgivable, the amount of errors that he made, and they weren't forced errors; they were just simple, soft errors that are unacceptable at that level. And fair enough. People want to have a crack at me because I've supported Billy Burns. I haven't really supported him. All I've ever said is that he's not as bad as you guys make out. Well, tonight he probably was as bad as you guys have made out. Dick fingers Billy Burns. He didn't have a great night tonight. While we are talking about blokes that maybe didn't have their best performance, Jesse, we'll go on to another one that seems to be causing some issues out on the edge, and that's Matt Feeney. What were your thoughts on his game today?
Again, pretty much like Billy Burns, he had a shocker, letting those 2 tries from Toto. Couldn't hang on to the ball. Leaving his wing way too often, and he's been doing that not just tonight. It's been happening for a number of weeks, and I expected him to grow another leg after his solid year last year, and I don't think he's really gone backwards in my opinion. I think he needs to spell in reserve grade as well. You could look at that as probably what cost us the game. You could say, like 2 tries, they especially that one right on halftime. That was what got Penrith's leg up, because at that point in the game we were on top. I thought we were the better side at going in the halftime, and then to go into halftime at 12 all really broke our back, and really our efforts didn't show on the scoreboard having a 12 all. And I think he just needs a spell, because his first grade his defense is just not up to first grade standard. I'd look at recalling Tautau Moga, because if you want to win games, you've got to have all your players in their position. And Feeney was found out of position way too much tonight, and his hands weren't good either. So
well, I suppose I'll interject there and throw to Big T. Jesse says if you want to win games, then bringing in a guy like Tautau Moga is probably the right option. And I don't know whether there's too many that would disagree with that, given the way Moga performed, before he got injured. If we want to win, but what's the aim for the Dragons from here? Well, we're sitting down near the bottom of the ladder. What's the point of winning games with a guy like Moga, who's not going to be here next year? Do you go with Moga, or do you go with another young bloke?
Yeah, at this moment in time, we've got to go with young blokes. We've got to bring young blokes up, blood them in the team. Moga is a solid player. He'll do his job. And I said on Tuesday night that I thought Feeney should have been replaced for Moga. So, we've got Alex Lobb down there. Trey Stewart can play on the wing. Any of their boys back there, they can all play. We're just going to give them the chance now and see what they can do.
Yeah, I think that Matty Feeney's come up with a number of errors, and again that one just before halftime that came from the opportunity presented from an error from Billy Burns, but again, Matty Feeney way too far in from his wing, which allowed the space. It was a perfect kick from Trevor's boy, Jack Cogger. It was a pinpoint kick, but I actually think it was the first try that was more an issue for me with Feeney's defence, because I think Sully was caught infield. Burns was up and in on the centre, so both Burns and Matty Feeney were in on the centre. No one was on the wing.
Yeah, he didn't need to go in.
There was no need for him to go in at all. We had it covered, and he was the one that made the defensive mistake. And he always does. He doesn't even look at his winger. It's like his winger doesn't even exist. He just goes for the centre every time. It's like, who's got the winger? You're trusting other people to get the bloke that you're supposed to be marking.
I'd like to see the stat which side of the field we've had most tries scored down. And I have to say to that side, wouldn't it?
Well, again, there's been plenty of criticism for Mika Ravalawa over the last sort of 12 to 18 months when he's been on the field. He does the same thing. I think it was just before that first try. Taruva got on the outside because Mika Ravaloa ran in off his wing and danced around, and then they shifted straight away over to the other side. And so again, I think we've had this problem with wingers since Paul McGregor was coach, and it hasn't changed. It hasn't been fixed. It hasn't been altered. We always seem to have wingers that come in. Jason Nightingale had never done it his entire career, and all of a sudden under Paul McGregor he started doing it. And every winger we've had since does exactly the same thing. So I don't know whether changing Matt Feeney is going to change that.
I didn't think Rava had a bad game tonight. He ran for 166 metres, scored 2 tries. Rava
was on at our best. I'm not criticising Rava. I'm just saying that he came off his wing as well. Like he does it as well.
He did his job at the other end though. Like I know he did miss tackles. There's two sides to a job. You've got to attack and defend. But I thought his attack was special tonight. 166 metres. That's pretty good.
No, he did all right defensively. I'm just pointing out that Rava sometimes runs off his wing too. Like both wingers do it.
Right.
Both wingers do it, and changing Matt Feeney is not going to change that. Doesn't matter who you bring in on that wing. Because the coaches tell them to.
Are they coached to do that?
Of course they're coached to do that, 110%. No doubt in the world they are coached to do that.
Yeah, that's crazy.
They've been coached to do that for nearly 10 years now.
Yeah, it's not right.
So it's something that hasn't been addressed, hasn't been fixed, and won't be changed by changing the winger.
You asked me the question, who would you bring in? Who would you bring in?
No, I think it's an incredibly difficult decision.
Exactly.
I think you're looking at, are you going to replace Matt Feeney with Max Feeney? Because I think bringing in Tautau Moga, it's a short-term fix, and I agree with Jesse. He's probably the best person to do the job. But what's the fucking point? We're not going anywhere this season.
We're not going forward.
Why are you going to bring in a bloke that's he's definitely not going to get another contract? He's not going to be at the Dragons next season. So why bring in Moga? It's either persist with Matt Feeney there, or bring in his brother. Would be the only other real genuine option.
Yeah. I reckon bloody youngster.
Yeah, Alex Lobb got a concussion today, so I don't know whether he'll be available. So he'll be out for a little while.
On Billy Burns too, he might be out of the side anyway because Jack Bird will be back next week.
No, Jack Bird's gone for he's missing next week as well. Yeah, he's already confirmed he's out for next week.
Wow. Well, yeah, we'll see. We'll see.
But yeah, I think again, Billy Burns, he's off contract. Are you really going to sign him again for next season?
I'll bring Jack Grubowski back.
Gachewski? No, I don't think that's an option. He's in another state now, so we'd be looking at somebody like Couchman who plays on an edge, or his brother Couchman, or Dylan Egan who scored a try today, or
they're not edge forwards.
Well, again, we've got a couple of young ones that are coming through, so there are some options. Hasman, he's had some technical difficulties, and it doesn't look like he's come back. But we might move into to the best players so far today. As I said, we haven't done the Mad Dragons Vodcast Player of the Year voting as yet. I haven't even done mine, but just running through some of the best players tonight. Rob, I'll go to you first of all. Ben Hunt, I know you haven't always sung his praises from the highest of rooftops, but you'd have to say he backed up pretty well from Origin tonight.
Absolutely. Magnificent effort by him. Had a massive game, State of Origin. Solid, played so well, played so hard. So true testament to Ben Hunt. I mean, obviously the guy's as tough as nails, and obviously played well tonight. Again, like yourself, Donny, hard for me to really look at it 3-2-1 to really assess, individuals. Probably again, people are probably going to smash me now, but bit of a fan of Bud Sullivan, and I think people probably didn't realise.
Well, I do have another question later about Bud Sullivan that I'll throw to you, so we'll just stick to Hunt for now.
Yeah, sorry. So Hunt, yeah, look, mate, massive effort, very impressed, and been hard on him. Hopefully he will stay. Very worried about the the future, if he goes or stays. I know he's under contract and all that. I just hope he stays, and I hope we get the right coach that he'll be happy with as well too. Fingers crossed.
Well, has man on that? I mean, more rumours during the week on Fox and reproduced, of course, with Clarkie's Rugby League column, saying that Ben Hunt will make his decision at some stage during the week as to whether he's going to choose to stay with the Dragons or not. Given he has a 2-year contract with the Dragons, does it matter what Hunt decides? Or do the Dragons say, well, you've got a contract, mate, you signed it like just last year. I don't care if you want to leave, you're staying? Like, what happens here?
I think that he needs to be told, you're under contract, you signed the contract last year, you're not going anywhere. Pure and simple.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, my feelings are that it's a massive media beat up. Ben Hunt doesn't want to go anywhere. He's never wanted to go anywhere. He's never indicated that he wants to leave, and he's going to stay. Like, he's just, but the way that he plays indicates that he's doing everything he can for this club.
I mean, it's Fox and
digs
Clarkie,
in.
so it's 90% just bullshit anyway.
He digs in, week out. I can't see any chance of Ben Hunt leaving. And if he does, Ryan Webb has said several times, he's got a contract. There's no way we're releasing him. End of story. Like, Ben Hunt is not going anywhere. I think these stories are going to keep coming up. I think there's a lot of Dragons fans that want Ben Hunt to leave. I'm not sure why, when he comes out and produces the sorts of performances that he does for us week in, week out, the effort that he puts in. Some of the things that he did tonight, just absolutely unbelievable, out of this world good. The fact that some people seem to want him gone just baffles me. I'm not sure why. Coco, do you want him gone? Yep, you're on mute.
Sorry
There
about
you
that.
go.
That was my stupid phone. No, I don't want him gone. I sometimes feel like he can be selfish because, like, yeah, he's
So
just
that I've heard people use that word selfish a million times about Ben Hunt. Like, never has he done anything to indicate that he's selfish. Like,
I understand.
I know what you're saying. Like, he plays 9 for Queensland. He plays 9 for us. We've heard it a million times before. He will play 9 for us, but that's not his best position at the Dragons. His best
it's not
position
even
in the
about
Dragons
that
team is at
position.
7. The coach
Yes.
picks him at 7. The coach says, "I want you at 7." If the coach says, "I want you at 9," Ben Hunt will play 9, 100%. Like,
I
this
don't care
idea
about
that
that
he's
anymore.
selfish is bullshit. He's not selfish.
No,
He's
it's not
done
about that.
everything he can for this club.
I know that, but it's not even about being positions. It's about him when it's Origin time, and it, like tonight, it's exactly like when it's Origin. Ben Hunt can be praised. Oh, he's so good. But when Origin's away, when those 3 games are all over, he's back to being himself and being selfish. And then the young guys that come in, like Bud and everyone else, gets the blame. When this the one man team of Ben Hunt, when he decides to pull his finger out, which is Origin, and that's what I see in my eyes. Everyone can go off at me and go, "I'm being stupid," but I see it and I just go, and he did lovely. I actually agree with you. He actually played really well, and I really enjoyed seeing him get into the ball, kick it, do what he did today. And I changed for tune, but I just see sometimes some games differently. Yes,
Yeah.
Rob, done.
Yeah, no, I understand where you're coming from, Chloe. I just disagree. I don't think there's anything about Ben Hunt that is selfish. I think he's the captain of this club. I think he leads the club well. He puts in 110%. I think if anything, he's too selfless. He needs to be a bit more selfish and let somebody else do some of the work, because he tries to do too much sometimes. I think that might be his biggest flaw. Jesse?
Yeah, well, I think that was Ben Hunt's best game for us all season. He kicked 530 odd meters, I think it was. And he's backing up from State of Origin as well. He he was very good for Queensland the other night too. So I thought,
And he played the
Yeah.
wing as well in Queensland. How funny was that? He played
Oh,
wing.
yeah,
Can I back
they had players injured left, right, and centre, so they had
Yeah.
to put him out there.
Can I back
Um,
up something too, Jess? I actually saw a great combination growing tonight between Hunt and Sullivan. Sullivan, I think Donny will allude to it, did a lot more defence than what met the eye, a bit more than Hunt. But I think this combination might work in the future. So again, I've been a big Hunt sort of protester, whatever you want to call
Yeah,
it. but
so I think
I
that's
think could be a good
again, sorry to
combination.
cut you off, Rob, but I mean,
Yeah,
I
sorry.
think that was actually probably part of the again a bit of an issue is that I didn't really like the combination between Hunt and Sullivan tonight. I thought that Sullivan last week kicked more, like Jesse mentioned that Hunt kicked more meters than he has all season. Last week, Jaden Sullivan kicked more meters than Ben Hunt has done all season, and tonight, none of the kicking went to Jaden Sullivan. It got us into trouble a couple of times because Ben Hunt was the only one doing any kicking. Nothing was given to Bud to do. It was like Bud was sent out there with the instructions. I'll just do what Junior Mone's been doing all year. Just go out there and do that. Like, don't kick, never kick, and just run the ball every time you get it and be predictable. I actually think that in attack, Jaden Sullivan got a little bit hamstrung tonight, and the combination didn't work as well as it should. I didn't think, certainly not in attack. I didn't think it was Jaden Sullivan's natural game.
Yeah, I'm just-
Jesse, is that something you'd agree with?
Yeah, well, it says here he only had 2 kicks for 53 meters, but he actually did force a couple of repeat sets as well. And like Rob said, I thought he was pretty strong in defense. He made some pretty strong tackles. Did a couple of back slams, and I thought that's where he was struggling early in the season when he got his shot. But I think he's been working on that. And I thought he was really solid in defense tonight, coming up one against one of the best 5-8s in the game in Luai, and I thought he really stood up.
Yeah, again, even that kick where he forced the line dropout, though, that wasn't a planned kick. That was, again, ad-lib play. The ball came out the back and Sullivan kicked him behind. It hit off the post and they got a repeat set. Like, it wasn't, he never got the ball, never got the opportunity to kick. He showed last week that he's got a great long kicking game that can be used to take pressure off Ben Hunt. They can share that 50-50. There's no need for Ben Hunt to do every single bloody kick. He's got Jaden Sullivan, who's a way more capable long kicker than Junior Amone is, and just wasn't utilised, I didn't think, tonight. But Rob, you sort of mentioned a couple of times. I'll go to you now because you're desperate to talk about Jaden Sullivan. I'll go to you with regards to Sullivan defensively. I thought he was absolutely outstanding.
Absolutely, mate. I mean, look, correct me if I'm wrong. The stat was 30-something tackles, Donny. Yeah, I mean, huge effort. Obviously, as a half, making that many tackles. But look, the growth, I'm looking to the future. Ben Hunt, like you're saying, is no doubt 90% going to stay with the Dragons from what we're discussing tonight. So I'm looking to the future. If Hunt's going to stay, maybe I'll see some growth there with Jaden Sullivan. I'm looking to that future. And maybe Jaden will get more responsibility in time, more kicks, etc. I'm hoping anyway. But again, answering your question, Donny, the defensive effort by him in the past, he's missed some tackles, but I think tonight his game was on. And again, against arguably the best team in the comp. So, I mean, Bud Sullivan stand up and be proud and probably should be selected now, for the rest of the season in the halves. He deserves it, even on the effort tonight. So I couldn't be prouder as a big Bud Sullivan fan. Maybe not so much in attack and kicks and what have you, or line breaks, but his defense was second to none.
Yeah, I again, maybe I'm being a bit hypercritical because I'm a huge Bud Sullivan fan. So I don't want to go over the top when he doesn't perform, I suppose, to standard. So maybe I'm being a little bit hypercritical. And I thought he created that good opportunity early where he dug right into the line, put Jaden Sewer through. Sewer went through half a hole and then he dropped the ball. That was a good moment, but that was basically, you know, and again, he did force a repeat set with his kicks, but I just think that he should be more involved. I thought defensively he was amazingly good. For a half to make 30 tackles in a game is pretty good in itself. Only the 3 misses, and I don't remember a bad miss. You compare that to Ben Hunt, who only made 9 tackles the entire game. So they're playing basically exactly the same corridor on the field, and Sullivan's made 30 tackles and Hunt's only made 9. So they've clearly directed a lot of attack his way, and he stood up to that fantastically well. He's one of the top tacklers in the team, and I don't think let anyone down tonight. That's for sure. If it was Junior Amone in exactly the same situation, I would have expected him to miss a dozen tackles or more. I don't think he's made 30 tackles in a game in his entire career. So I think Sullivan is certainly the better option than Junior. I just think they've got to work out a way to get the best out of the players that they've got. I think so often the Dragons, that they seem to work out a game plan and then force square pegs to play in round holes. Like, design a game plan that's going to suit the players that you've got. That would be the way that I would do things. Puff, nice to see you jump on, mate. Customarily late, I love it. Good to see you on, mate. I mean, would you agree with my statement just then?
Sorry, mate, I had a bit of trouble getting on, so I actually didn't get to hear your statement. What was it?
It's all good. How do you think we went tonight?
Mate, I personally, I was impressed, mate. I mean, I know they were missing Cleary for a bit, but playing the Premiers, we're staying motherless last. They're up the top. They're the big news. We're completely written off by everybody. To go that close, and they weren't really making a lot of breaks around us. They were doing mainly kicking to sort of go anywhere. Me personally, I was pretty happy, mate. Except you made Billy Burns let us down, mate. I like Billy. I like Billy, but I think it was five times, I think. He put the ball down, and that kind of cost us pretty heavily.
Yeah, again, he was probably the top, well, second top in the meters. He was one of the top tacklers as well tonight as well. So, I mean, his work rate was good. As Chloe sort of alluded to, he did actually do a couple of halfway decent things, but it's all cancelled out by 4 errors, 4 key errors, 4 unforgivable errors. That's all that anybody's going to be talking about when they mention Billy Burns' name. I think he's done a lot of damage to his first grade career, unfortunately, and it's going to be hard for any Dragons fan to ever see Billy Burns on a team sheet ever again. It was hard enough already, and he needed to have a perfect performance to get any credit at all from most Dragons fans, and it certainly wasn't a perfect performance. Big T.
It's a bit unfortunate for him too, because like you said, well, like Chloe said, he did do some good things. It's just that those mistakes were pretty bad errors. That's the bad thing. So you're not going to remember the good thing. The good thing that Billy did do when he was out there. That'll be forgotten.
Yeah, no, they certainly cost us. That's for sure. Big T, another bloke that had a very good game tonight that we haven't spoken about too much. I thought Jaden Sewer, again, his aggression coming. I think. Last week, everyone talked about the fact that we're a one-man team. Ben Hunt doesn't play and we lose to the Dolphins. I actually think we missed Blake Lawrie and Jaden Sewer more than we missed Ben Hunt. And Jaden Sewer, again, came back tonight and had a really good performance.
He did. He had a really good. We made a couple of good runs. I was running the right holes anyway. The right holes in the game. He made just over 100 metres, I think. He could have made more, but. No, he tackled well, 40 odd tackles or something. So, he went all right. I don't think he went too bad.
Yeah, again, I thought there were some really aggressive moments, and his aggression. I thought running off Jaden Sullivan, he actually created some options. He's got some quick play the balls, and it was a really good showing from Jaden Sewer. Rob, we're back to the top now, so we'll go to you again. Mika Ravaloa, probably a little quieter in the second half, but his first half absolutely outstanding from Rubber.
Oh, mate, unbelievably so. I just think the sheer running the ball back, the effort made. Many are saying, oh, you know, Miko should go in the second row and all that. I mean, this bloke plays the winger as a second rower and as a winger, and runs it up with such heart and passion every time. And took the high ball tonight well. I mean, geez, the bloody guy, you got to give him 110%. I was just so impressed by him, mate. You know, just gave it all, and what a great performance. And as Big T said, 2 tries as well. And yeah, very impressive, mate. And on the goal line as well too. Remember, some of those runs were back, you know, running back within a couple of meters from our goal line and hitting the 10-meter line. So sensational effort by Rav. Very impressed, mate. Great Fijian. So what else can I say?
Hasman, the last individual that I want to talk about before we start talking about a bit of news around the club and a few things that you mentioned in the heroes and villains. The last player that I want to bring up is Josh Kerr. So before I let you go, played just 20 minutes tonight, and in 20 minutes ran for 70 meters. Compare that to some of the other players. Jaden Hunt played for 20 minutes and ran for a total of 15 meters. Ben Murdoch-Masila played 38 minutes and ran for a total of 30 meters. So there's a number of players that even Jack de Bellin playing 62 minutes had less meters than Josh Kerr did. Is it time for Josh Kerr to be given more than just 20 minutes out on the field?
Oh, but maybe let's remember he is off to the Dolphins next year. So, you know, he's not in our future plans. So I have to question why we're playing him at all. To be honest, at this point in time, like if he wasn't going, then yeah, I'd say play him as much as he can, you know, put up with. But and look, admittedly, he did play very well tonight. In a little bit of minutes.
He's played very well every single game this year, mate. He has not let us down once, and he can't get more than 25 minutes a game. Like, he plays the ball faster than anybody else out on the field, week in, week out. He gets us on the front foot. The amount of times he plays the ball and then Jacob Little goes from dummy half is outrageous. Like, Josh Kerr has been our best front rower.
So why isn't he starting instead of Michael Molo?
I don't know. That's what I'm asking you. That's why I'm throwing the question. Like, he's been our best front rower. Why is he not getting more than what he's getting? And you might have answered it. Maybe it's because he's going to the Dolphins. But yeah, if you're picking your best team, I think Josh Kerr's got to be in there.
In your opinion, does he start, or does he come off the bench and play long minutes?
Well, that's a difficult one. I know Jesse's been a big advocate for Josh Kerr starting. I think him coming on with his footwork and finding his front is more effective against a more tired defence. So I think coming on and playing bigger minutes off the bench. But I think he's done enough to earn a chance to start too. Like, come on and start and play 40, 45 minutes and see what he can produce. I'm not sure. I think it's an interesting one that he's still only getting 20 minutes off the bench when a guy like Ben Murdoch-Masila, Jaden Hunt, these guys are coming off the bench and not producing. They're not even Toby Couchman. I know a lot of people are pissed off that Toby Couchman hasn't been given a chance and has been dropped from the side. He's last 4 games, and 7 out of 10 games, he's come off the bench and he's playing 30, 35 minutes and running for less than 50 metres. Josh Kerr in 20 minutes is run 70 metres, and if he plays 25 minutes, he probably runs 100 metres. Like, he's doing this week in, week out. He's the only bloke that's actually performing coming off the bench. Jesse, you've got your hand up. I know you've got a bit more to add there.
Well, with Jack de Bellin now ruled out for next week, I'd look at even potentially starting him. I know I've said this many weeks in a row, but we're getting pretty short in the forward stocks now with we've lost Laurie. I don't know if Burns keeps his spot. I'd look at maybe putting Kerr into the front row and swapping Mickey Milo back to lock. I think Kerr deserves his form warrants a starting spot. He's been one of our most consistent forwards all season, and I think he really deserves that chance. And coming up against that big South Sydney pack, I think we're going to need his size to take him on in the early stages of that game next weekend.
Well, the other criticism, somebody saying Kerr just drops too much ball. I think Mama did maybe watched a bit too much footy from last year, because I don't remember him dropping the ball once so far this year. There might be one error that he's made all season. Yeah, I know in previous seasons he's come up with errors and in trying to play the ball too quickly. Find me one that he's dropped this year. He has not dropped the ball all season. And you can't hold. So this is the problem with Dragons fans, is that they make a decision, oh, Kerr drops too much ball. And it doesn't matter that he hasn't dropped the ball all season. They still remember that he dropped a lot of ball last year. He hasn't dropped the ball.
He dropped it once tonight.
He had one tonight.
Yeah, well, is that probably the first one all year? Because he's barely made a mistake.
I don't think it was
people-
meant for him anyway, the ball at that time of the game.
Yeah, I don't know. I think find me any player that doesn't drop the ball occasionally. But Josh Kerr, I know it was an issue last year. I know it's been an issue in previous years. It has not been an issue this season for Josh Kerr.
Johnny, can I just say something about Josh there? You mentioned about the fact that he is our biggest forward, and he probably and also because he is our biggest forward, he should be playing and he should be starting and probably not coming off the bench. But conversely, because he is our biggest forward, he is probably being used to come off the bench so he can run into the other bigger forwards the same size as him that have played longer, so they're tireder. He obviously can't do both, so it's probably he's probably more beneficial to be coming off the bench with the size that he's got. That's the only reason I can think that he's not starting.
Yeah,
even though he should start,
again, even if you're not starting, you can still play bigger minutes than that. And I think he's got more to offer. Maybe there's questions on his motor. That's the only thing I can think, is that maybe he starts to get a bit tired, a bit lazy around the middle, and that's why the coach drags him off. Maybe he's only capable of playing 20 minutes at a time. I'm not sure, but he hasn't really been given an opportunity. Jai Masterton in the comments has just said, what happened to Fuamoano? Fuamoano is having a double hip replacement, basically the same thing that happened to George Burgess before he came to the Dragons, where he had that hip resurfacing surgery. Terrell Fuamoano is having that done on both sides of his body. George only had it on one side. He's out for the season. Terrell Fuamoano may never play rugby league again. That's how serious his injury is. He definitely will not play this year, though. So he's going to be out for a long period of time, and he won't play for the Dragons again. He's off contract at the end of the year. He won't be extended, I wouldn't think, given the seriousness of his injury. All right, Chloe. Yep, you're still there. And another week where the game seems almost secondary. Feels like a lot has happened since our Tuesday show, while at the same time, it feels like nothing has changed. Let's kick it off with Jason Ryles. A lot of people talking about Ryles turning down the offer to coaches, reportedly offered $3.2 million for a 4-year deal. As a rookie coach, the Dragons gave Ryles almost everything he asked for. What are your emotions at Ryles turning us down?
Well, well, first of all, I'm a bit shitty because I've been hearing so many shit about Ryles, about our club, about our board, about like everything. So, well, didn't he just buy a house in Wollongong? I'm a bit confused with Ryles, because didn't he just buy a house in Wollongong? Does anyone know? Anyone has sources? So
Yes, he lives in Wollongong. He lives in Wollongong.
So I thought that, but you know what? I think I was watching the footy show today, and it's something about control of the football side of it. That's what Wayne Bennett got to do, and maybe that's what Jason Ryles. Maybe that's why he said no to it. And I think the board maybe needs to give these guys a bit of a chance. And if he wants to control the football side and he's the coach and he can bring people not like over the 35s, maybe the 20s and the 25-year-olds to the club, because we are last and we need a bit more people to come in and more forwards, more stars that actually named on the roster that will go, oh, St. George Illawarra, yeah. Not like, oh, St. George Illawarra, yeah, those people, And also, sorry, Johnny, I'm just going to say something really quickly. To everyone who I've seen about the Illawarra to drop the Illawarra, pull your bloody heads in. I come from the Illawarra. I grew up with the Illawarra Steelers, and we're not getting rid of Illawarra. Why is it cancerous? What has Illawarra got to do with St. George and Illawarra? You should be grateful we're both together, And Jesse, if you want to pop in because you are from the Illawarra too, I'm grateful that my team is still in the comp.
Well, it's not everybody. It's a few spuds, and to be honest, there are dickheads on the Illawarra side as well that say get rid of St. George and only have Illawarra. There are dickheads on the St. George side that say get rid of Illawarra. They're a cancer. They're the reason we suck. The Dragon, like I'm a Dragon from way back, and the Dragons. If we were to split, if St. George and Illawarra were to separate, there's only one license. There's only one license available. Tell me which club are you going to give the license to? Are you going to give it to another team in the saturated market of Sydney that is fed by a leagues club that hasn't been updated since 1975, that is run by a bunch of old guys that have not updated their thinking or their thoughts or anything to do with how they run a club since 1975 either. They still run the place like it's a pub football team.
Yeah.
Is that club going to get the license, or is the
No.
team that is backed by a billionaire in a strategically important area, are they more likely to get the license? So if you want to separate the joint venture, the only thing you are doing is killing St. George. St. George will be the one that dies. It won't be Illawarra. So pull your fucking heads in. Shut your fucking mouths. Honestly, stop it. Stop talking about separating the joint venture. The only thing you're going to do is kill the club that I love. So shut up.
Same with me. Amen.
Yes.
Yeah.
Love it. That's passion.
And Illawarra is a booming area, and it's all. We're developing all these juniors down here, and we've just got to tap into that too. Like St. George haven't had any juniors in the Dragons NRL squad for a number of years now, and Illawarra is a really great breeding ground for rugby league talent. And yeah, like you said, Donny, like the Illawarra will continue to build on that.
Exactly.
I don't see that in the St. George region.
Well, they've got
There is no junior football in the St. George region. That's
and again, history is a bit of an anchor, I think, for the Dragons, unfortunately. And actually, Mick, I might get you to weigh in here as well, because I know you're a big St. George man. You're an old you're an old St. George man, and I know you and I tend to have a different opinion when it comes to this area. But I mean, the St. George area, when the Dragons first started in 1921, like it was a thriving, growing area that was mad for rugby league. Like there was heaps of juniors that came through the St. George system from 1921, all the way up until 1999. But the area has changed a lot. Like the demographics of St. George are completely different. There's not a lot of rugby league families there anymore. I mean, do you still see that St. George area as being absolutely vital to our success?
Look, I've got no problem with the merger as such with Illawarra and us. When we used to play against Illawarra, I always liked Illawarra because they were red and white, so I automatically liked them anyway. So when they joined with us, I thought, well, our colours aren't going to change. And for me, the red and white, that's a massive part of who our club is. The bugbear that most St. George fans have of the merger, which I have this same bugbear, and it doesn't come from the Illawarra people. It comes from fans of rugby league, and it comes from the press. The Dragons have one premiership. You say that to me, you nearly get your fucking head smashed in, right? You want your fucking head smashed in? Say that, because that's not fucking true. You go to the St George's Leagues Club, there's not one fucking trophy in the cabinet. They got all the years with the fucking shields. So this is all the press. They've got the Dragons. We started in 1999. No, we fucking didn't. We've been around since it's 1921. Canterbury, they changed their name from the Berries to Canterbury Bankstown to the Sydney fucking Bulldogs. Now you hear the commentators talk about the Bulldogs. They say they started in 1935. Well, hang on. They changed their name to the Sydney Bulldogs. So the Sydney Bulldogs is not Canterbury Bankstown. But they still have, I don't know how many premierships Canterbury Bankstown have ever got, but I'll tell you what.
Not as many as us,
one.
mate.
Yeah, but they don't say fucking one. And they still say Canterbury started in 1935. The Sydney Roosters, they were fucking East. Then they went to Sydney Roosters. Once you become the Sydney Roosters, mate, you're not fucking East.
And then the
Oh,
Sydney,
yeah.
Sydney
Now
Roosters-
Sydney were kicked out of the comp.
Yeah,
Sydney
you're Sydney
Roosters.
Yeah,
Well,
you're Sydney fucking Roosters, mate. But they still keep all their premierships. So that's the bugbear that I have, and it's a
Yeah.
real. When I hear people say "fuck off Illawarra," there's a big part of me that goes, if I wake up tomorrow morning and Illawarra were fucking gone, I'd go, "Oh, good, we've got all our premierships back." All of a sudden,
Yeah,
yeah.
I think Nate Tristram it's
Does that answer
short.
your question?
It does, mate. There was a lot of swear words. I'm glad.
Yeah, there was.
I'm glad I didn't share this one with the Dragons in Queensland group that said don't swear. So we
Well, that's
got,
the one
got,
topic
got
I
in
will-
trouble for too much swearing on their page. So we're not allowed to share the vodcast to them anymore. But Nate Tristram, I think sums it up with a pretty short comment. He says we need Illawarra and they need us, and I think
That's right.
I think that's true, because I think Illawarra brings a lot in terms of there's no way we can be kicked out of the comp so long as we're based in that area. We're in a strategically important area for the club, and St George brings that big brand. Like the St George brand is huge. The red V is huge. This crest on my chest is massive. Whether it's got Illawarra along the bottom or not, it doesn't really matter. There's a lot of history and there's a lot of tradition right there that the Dragons and the St George Illawarra Dragons can leverage while still having access to Illawarra and the South Coast. So it's just a matter of getting all parties working together. Big T, you've got your hand up there, mate.
Yeah, it's the history that we need to be more backing at the St George and the Illawarra side. We can't have a St George sideboard and an Illawarra sideboard. That is the problem. You got one half saying we want this, you got another half saying we want this.
But
Come on.
again, you is this something that's invented by fans or something, fans and
No, it's
media,
not.
or is this something that actually happens? Because I've talked to people that are on the board and they say there's no such thing. There is no division.
Well,
We have discussions. We all want the same thing. We all want what's best for the club. We just come at
don't
it
agree
from
with
different
that.
points of view with 8 different people. There's not
Well, I
there's
can
not
tell
one
you-
side and the other, but
I
that's
can't
what
tell-
they say.
I can tell you I'm not fighting. I can tell you I'm not fighting with my wife, but I am. So, look,
Happy
it's-
families, mate. Happy families. It's all on
Exactly
Facebook.
right.
You can see.
No,
it.
I love my darling wife. She's beautiful, mate. She's beautiful. But yeah, like they can tell you that they're not fighting, but the divide. I think the divide is there.
Oh,
Yeah.
100%, mate.
See, look at the
100% it's fair.
Constitution, guys.
Yeah.
Look at the Constitution. The board all have to agree on a coach outright. I mean,
Yeah,
how
that's
right.
not in the Constitution, I don't think, Rob.
But
Well,
try and
That's something the
board.
board have decided, is that they all have to agree, but it's not in the Constitution.
well, if it's not,
Try and
then
get on the board.
why is it so prevalent in the media and all that they have to agree on a coach unanimously?
Because the board have said that they won't hire a coach unless they all agree. But it's not actually in the Constitution. That's just
Wow.
something that they have decided amongst themselves, is that they want to be unanimous in whoever they choose.
Well, don't forget, Donny,
Crazy.
the media love kicking the crap out of our club. I mean, our fans do as well. But and this is the perfect example. As soon as Jason Ryles said no to coaching us, every single media outlet had Jason Ryles rejects Dragons offer. Jason Ryles shuns the Dragon. Jason Ryles doesn't want to coach the Dragons. I thought, hang on. They had an interview with Jason Ryles. He put his demands to the club, and the club went no. So how come no one actually said, "Oh, the Dragons, they reject Ryles"? See, there's a total.
Well,
It depends on how you say it.
it's a decent point, and it's a decent perspective, I suppose. Like Ryles wanted 5 years. Ryles wanted, he wanted a few other staffing appointments, a creation of different positions. So he got offered 4 years. He got offered control and all those sorts of things. He got offered a lot of the things that he asked for, but he didn't get absolutely everything.
And that's the point of what I'm saying, Donny, that from that perspective, Jason can say no, but that's the only perspective that we heard. The other perspective that I'm saying is when Jason Ross sat there and said, I want 5 years, I want full control of my coaching, I want to pick whoever I like, blah, blah, blah. The Dragons obviously said, sorry, Jason, we're going to intervene. So my perspective is that the Dragons also knocked back Jason's offer. But I didn't hear one Fox Sports commentator or anything on Twitter, Instagram, bloody Facebook, every single thing that I've read, and I've read about 100 different articles, all saying the same thing, and it was all Jason Ryles rejects the Dragons. So that media spin being put out there every single day for the last, say, week or whatever, it's a massive kick in the guts to the club. I would have liked to have seen one Fox Sports guy say, oh, yeah, well, Jason Ryles wanted this and he wanted that, and the Dragons said no.
You look at the
different perspective
too. What about Jason Ryles himself? It's a big first-time commitment as his first time as a coach, first grade coach. And I agree to a degree what you're saying, but mate, he has to look at it from his point of view that, do I want to take on this? Do I want to take on the risk? Do I really want to go to the Dragons? Is it a poison chalice for me as my first time as a first grade coach? You want to call it a rookie coach, first grade rookie coach. Obviously, he's an assistant coach. Or do I go somewhere else? Do I stick around for Melbourne Storm, etc.? But that's what to pass on to you, Donny. What's the go with Shane Flanagan then? What's the story there?
Well, that's I suppose another interesting point that's come up this week. I mean, everyone wants to know about Shane Flanagan. Everyone's asking about Shane Flanagan now that Jason Ryles has turned us down. And Jesse, I know you've had your hand up for a while there, mate, but we might move on to Flano. And so everyone, like Ryan Webb, I think Hasman in his Heroes and Villains described Webb as the invisible man. He's done 2 or 3 interviews during the last week. Like, he has been very visible. He's been very accessible. He's been asked some hard questions by some pretty good journalists on both SEN and 2GB, and in both cases he was asked specifically about Shane Flanagan, and it seems that the journalists asking the question, they have an agenda that they want to get Shane Flanagan the gig, and Webb's come out and he said, Shane Flanagan is in consideration. Like, he's on our list. He's a guy that we're talking to. He's a guy that we're interested in. He's a guy that we'll be interviewing. But he's on a list with half a dozen other blokes. He's not our number one priority. He's not the guy that we're 100% going for. He's on the list. He's a guy that we're talking to. He's not excluded, despite what the media might have reported. Again, this idea that there's a split between the board and there's one particular board member that doesn't want him, complete bullshit, according to Ryan Webb. He's in consideration and he's being spoken about. So, again, what you hear in the media and what you read in newspapers and what you think you know might not necessarily be true. I don't know exactly where we're up to. I might go to you, Big T, but with Jason Ryles out of the equation, who do you see as being the best option for the Dragons, first of all, and who do you think? What's your I suppose prediction as to who we're going to end up with?
I'll do it. Yeah, for sure. For sure, I'll give it a go. Why not? Couldn't do any worse. But anyway, no. I want to see an old head in there now. I thought Jason Riles might have been the go, but I want to see an old head. Flanagan, Desi, even Michael Maguire. I think Michael Maguire's got a chance. I'm not sure whether he's in the hunt for it. But now they're talking about Young and Hornby. I don't know if those two have been coaching for long enough to take over the head job, and the head job of the Dragons. That's a huge ask. A huge ask. Probably I'd say Flano. I think he's got the strong head, but again, he's got to be given autonomy in the club. You know, he's got to be able to relocate people and take people out and put his own people in there. Whether he's got his own people, I'm not sure, but I'm sure he has. But I've heard he's already said I don't want it. So I don't know who's left. I'm going to say Madge. Give Madge a go.
It starts to become a difficult choice. Madge gets the job from Big T, but Hasman.
Yeah, I don't know, man.
I could see you blowing up there, Hasman. So when I was talking before, you were just quietly seething on mute, and
Hasman never agrees with me.
Yeah, Big T and I agree on everything all the time.
We do.
Look, Big T, I just wanted to ask you something. Just out of those coaches that you've just mentioned, which ones do you think have the balls and the clout to basically tell the board, "Fuck off! I'm running the football team"?
Flanagan and Hasler. Flanagan and Hasler. They're the only two left. Have got the balls. I don't think Madge has got the balls to do it. But I think Hasler or Flanagan have got the balls to take it to the board.
But do they have, in your estimation, do they have the sort of the experience and the sort of the runs on the board to be able to go to the board and say, right, I'm running the football department. You guys just sit in the boardroom and drink your crownies.
Flanagan did it at the Sharks. 100% did it at the Sharks. Autonomy. He
did it at the Sharks. That's exactly right. Yeah, exactly right, Rob. Exactly right. Done it at the Sharks, you can do it at the Dragons.
Yeah,
he used to CEO of the Sharks.
Desi did run the Bulldogs into the ground a little bit. Him and Raylene Castle.
That's probably my big concern with Hasler is that, he has shown in the past.
Done the same too.
Yeah, he's shown in the past that he can get short-term success, but he fucks the club over something severe.
Yeah.
So
Flanagan took the Cronulla Sharks 2010, 2016 from last place. Where we are now, we're last on the table. He took him to first. He rebuilt the club. He was able to retain players. He was able to attract players as well too. He ran the bloody team. He kept the board out of it, the CEO out of it, and all that. He's the guy, guy that's got the track record for doing it successly. Premiership coach. It makes
I've heard different reports all week that Flanagan does want it. Flanagan doesn't want it. I think it was you saying you've heard he does want it, and Donny was saying he's heard he doesn't want it.
I heard he didn't want it a couple of months ago.
Yeah.
In saying that, Mark Levy on the continuous call team where Flano works, why would he go and put forward to Ryan Webb? Why aren't you considering Shane Flanagan? I mean, you'd think Flano would say to Mark Levy, well, listen, mate, I'm not interested. Don't even ask the question. Shut up or whatever.
But who wants to be
Shane Flanagan wants his name up there when the best job comes up. He wants people asking the question again and again and again and again. Why aren't you considering Shane Flanagan? So when the job comes up that he actually wants, he can get in there and get in there and grab it.
Well, that's what Fitzgibbon did. He waited and waited and waited, and then the job came along.
That's what happened last time the Dragons were looking for a coach. It all feels very, very similar. We went to the best rookie coach available in Craig Fitzgibbon and said, "We want you. You're the guy.
He's an Illawarra boy.
You're the guy we want to coach our club." And
exactly.
he said, "Nah, get fucked. You guys are a basket case." No, thank you.
Yeah.
Exactly the same things happen now. We've got a St. George boy
Yep.
and Jason Riles, best rookie coach out there. Get him in. No, thank you.
I reckon we bring back Phil Economides.
Jesse, you've had your hand up for the last question. You've had your hand up again for a long while now. What have you got to add, mate?
So I think Flano is actually the best candidate for the job now that Riles. I know you said in the chat earlier in the week that Riles could have been a flop too. Like, he's unproven. You don't know what he's going to be like, and I think he's. I think that's right. Like, what if we did have him for 4 years?
Can I just say, Benny O'Brien in the comments will love hearing you say that I said in the private group chat that Riles might have been a flop because he's been saying it in the group chat all night that we've probably dodged a bullet by not getting Riles.
Yeah, like people say, Brent Reid said the other night, he's been coaching for 10+ years. No, he hasn't. Like, he was cracking a fit with Ray Finesta. Ray Finesta couldn't believe what he was saying. He's like, yeah, he's not been a head coach. He's unproven. Yes, he's been an assistant coach, but it's completely different running a side yourself. It's a completely different thing. But I get where he was coming from too. Like, he wants his own staff, but the board still want full control of the coaching staff, the pathways, how the teams run. And it's an embarrassment the way the club is run, because we're not going to go forward until this board is completely overhauled. That board it's really embarrassing the way our club is run. But at the moment, I think Flano is the man we've got to go for. I agree that it is a tough job for a rookie coach, and he'll be lathered by Dragons fans if Riles got the job. But I think Flano is the best man for the job at the moment from the candidates out there. I don't think Michael Maguire is the answer. He's got a lot of too many sprays in him, and I don't think that's good for our younger guys. I think Flano is the best man for the job. He built that side at Cronulla. Like, he built a real grit into their side. No one wanted to play them. He had them defending for each other, and they were a side no one wanted to play. And I'd love to see Flanagan instill that steel in our defence, because that's something we've been lacking ever since Wayne Bennett departed the club. And I think from the candidates, I think Flano is the guy. And Webb said he wants to get it done soon. And I hopefully, the way he was commentating the game tonight too, Flano, I think he's a real fan of a lot of our younger players in the side.
I hope all you guys are right, and that Flano is the man, because I think he's the best option out there. I've been I actually wanted before Wayne Bennett came to the club, I said to people, I said, Shane Flanagan is the best coach in the world that has never coached in the NRL. I said he is a fantastic coach, and he will be a fantastic coach. And when we didn't get him, I was a little bit disappointed. And we ended up with Wayne Bennett, so I was a bit less disappointed. But I've been a big fan of Shane Flanagan's for a long time, since before he got a job at Cronulla. He went to Cronulla and he proved me right that he is a very, very good coach. Went away. He's taken them from last, taken them to win a premiership. I have a high opinion of Shane Flanagan. I think he is the best man for the job. But I don't think Shane Flanagan wants to come to the Dragons. I think Shane Flanagan has seen behind the curtain. He has been an assistant coach here. He's been in recruitment at the Dragons. He has seen the way this club works. And I just don't think he wants to come here. It's a number of different things that make me feel that way. I just have a feeling that Shane Flanagan's going to say no. I've said since this all started that the new Dragons head coach, it won't be Dean Young, it won't be Ben Hornby, it won't be Jason Riles, it won't be Des Hasler, and it won't be Shane Flanagan. They're all the names that have been talked about. I've said since this started, I don't think any of them will end up as a head coach. I think we'll end up with John Morris or Josh Hannay. I think they are the two that I don't think too many Dragons fans will like to hear that, But they're the two names that I think that we're more likely to end up with, guys that are more desperate for an opportunity in the NRL, that don't have the option to wait for better opportunities. They have to take what's on offer. So that's why I kind of think that they might be the best of what's left over. Big T.
Can I throw a curly one at you?
I love curly ones.
Ryan Carr, will we keep him?
Yeah, well, again, you'd have to say that there's been an improvement in the way that we approach games and the way that we play.
I think there has been too.
I've sort of been looking through some stats trying to find what it is that we're doing differently, and it's a bit tough after only 2 games. Obviously, haven't had a chance to sit down and analyse the third game that he's done today. But I mean, it seemed a pretty good performance.
The play the ball's been quicker. I think having Little there to start, and I remember come on, he done his job. But Ryan Carr, I don't think he's done anything wrong.
He hasn't, but at the end of the day, like whoever you hire as the head, like if he's not the head coach, whoever you hire as the head coach is going to want to bring in their own people.
That's right, yeah.
Whether they decide that they want to keep a guy like Ryan Carr and even Ben Wolf around that know the squad, and if they don't necessarily have their own people that they always bring with them. Wayne Bennett was a classic example. He always took people with him and sacked all the assistant coaches. So it'll depend on who the head coach is. If you're
but no one's been talking about him. No one's been talking about him. So he's a chance.
It was discussed in the game tonight, actually, but they mentioned that he's unlikely to be.
I understand.
He's unlikely, but he's done a great job in the first 3 weeks. Yeah. He's done. They're really playing for each other. You'd never saw that under Hook.
I think he's just got to use more balls and select different players, bring the younger guys through.
Well, Puff, I might go to you. Like, I've absolutely loved listening to Ryan Carr, and I know you're one in particular that never liked listening to Anthony Griffin. Is it refreshing to have a coach at the Dragons that you actually you tune into their interviews, you tune into their post-match press conferences because you like listening to what they've got to say?
Yeah, mate, I'm big advocate for Ryan Carr, even though he's only just started doing it. I really quite like the guy. And Hook, for me, just, he didn't have that passion that the guys like Hasler and Bellamy and, guys like that have. And I think our club, we've had a lot of the quad-up guys in the past, and I think we need a guy that's going to get a little bit emotional, and sort of bang the glass and sort of get into it. But just quickly, back on this Shane Flanagan thing, everyone knows my views that I was against Flano for my reasons, which I'm not going to regurgitate all those all over again. But in the position that where our club is now, Shane Flanagan is by miles the best person. As everyone said before, Cronulla, they were last. They had no bloody hope. They also lost a sponsor pull out of the Sharks as well because of how bad they were. We're now losing this in George Bank. After 40 years, I've seen that Dragon on the field. And I'm the oldest bloke in this whole little panel that we got going. So I've seen the Dragon longer, probably 30 years than some of you guys. So for me to see that Dragon, it's not going to be there anymore. That is a massive, massive hole for us. So we're losing a sponsor. We're dead last. And you've got Shane Flanagan just sitting in a commentary box who hasn't got a footy team. And everyone knows that he wants to coach a footy team. But you know where we're going to miss Flanagan? Because our board wants to get involved. And that's where, if we said to Flanagan tomorrow, if Ryan Flanagan said, mate, I've got a meeting with you at 9 o'clock in the morning, you can have the job. And by the way, you can have who you like, pick the players, you watch Flanagan sign. But we're too dumb. We're too dumb. We're not going to do that. And that's why you get a Dean Young or you get a Hornby, because Dean Young's going to be a yes man. Ben Hornby's going to be a yes man. And our club, unfortunately, boys they want yes guys. That's what we want. That's how we work. So
we're Nathan Brown, Mick. Brown would win 35% of games or whatever he did. Get pissed off the next year.
Brown's got a job now, apparently.
He has, that's right, he has. He's a Parramatta out there, RIW.
Yeah.
You mentioned about Mary too the other night, Puff, about what happened when he was coaching.
Well, yeah, I mean, he actually said to me, and don't really know if it was a private discussion because he probably said it to other people, but he did actually say to me that he would pick the team, and then the team that actually went out on the field, there'd be 2 or 3 changes that he didn't pick, and then Facebook and we'd go into meltdown about Mary, and he said, mate, I didn't even pick those guys. So that's what our club does.
Yeah, that was at the end of Mary's tenure. Mary had selection of coaches removed from him due to the fact that he proved incompetent in that area. The fact is that the board have come out and admitted they said we made terrible mistakes with Paul McGregor and the way that we handled that situation, and they would never ever do that again. So the board doesn't get involved anymore in team selections. They got involved when Mary was there at the club, and they've admitted, they said that was a horrible mistake. We should never have done it. And what they should have done is, as soon as they felt that that was required, they should have sacked Mary on the spot. Instead, they tried to keep him in a job. They tried to take certain responsibilities away from him, and it actually diluted his power and took his own destiny out of his own hands. So now he's got the ability to go, and when he runs into people, say, "Oh, I was poorly treated. I wanted to drop Corey Norman, but I got overruled by Dean Young and Shane Flanagan." So the truth is, he had the option to drop Corey Norman for about 18 months before it got that option got taken away from him. So yeah. he had, and it's just, I guess the same for Hook. The same things happened with Hook, where Ryan Carr's come out and said a lot of the changes they made in his first game, they'd already spoken about what we're going to do. But for Hook, it was too late. Yeah. So even if that was true, I think it was bullshit, by the way. I think Ryan Carr saw it was wrong and decided to make those changes. And he's given some credit to Hook. But so I think it was bullshit. But even if it's true, the fact that Hook waited that long before deciding that he was going to make those changes, again, he shot himself in the foot, and I think Mary did the same thing. He had an opportunity to make changes and didn't, until the board decided, you know what, we've got to get involved here, and we don't want to pay him out, but we also don't want him to be picking the team anymore because he's doing a dreadful job of it. So
I think that Brendan Dowse may be having this is just a gut instinct or whatever, but I think maybe Peter Dowse may be rethinking the stands, because I believe he was the one, because it all came out that apparently there were 7 members out of the 8. They all wanted Flanagan, 7 of them, and Dowse was the only one. Now we hear from Ryan Webb that Flanagan's name's right in the mix with everybody else. So for that to all of a sudden come out, I reckon Dowse might be softening a bit, and maybe they're talking to him and he might go, well, okay. And Jess and I both know a guy who knows Flanagan, and Flanagan actually said the club have not even approached him. They haven't even asked him. But he did not say, I would not take the job if I was asked. He just said the Dragons haven't asked me, so there's no interest from me because I'm not going to chase them, but they haven't even rung me up. Just from what I was saying before, the fact that he got a club that lost a major sponsor, they were last in a grand final, that's never been done before that I can recall. In any sport, even in any sport, who's got a team from last that lost a major sponsor into a grand final?
Can I add to that too,
That's
Mick?
ridiculous.
Can I add to that,
Rob?
Look, listen to the common sense you're making, Mick. Look at a rebuild as well too. It's only common sense. This guy, Shane Flanagan, rebuilt the team. We're running.
That's it, mate.
We need to retain players. We need a bit of a clean out. We need new players and all that. This guy has it. He's a hard nut. He can fight the fight as well too. He's respected. He's won a premiership. He's a premiership winning coach. He already knows the Dragons board. He already knows the Dragons players.
Yeah. It's sort of obvious, Rob, isn't it? Like you just said. I'm saying what's actually, and that's why 7 other board members can see that it's obvious. So I hope that Peter Dowse, and I'm a bit of a Dowse fan, and the reason why he didn't want Flanagan, I didn't really want that past of Flanagan to be associated with the Red Bee, but in saying that, he's done his time. Yeah, he's done his time, and he's learned the lesson. He's surely not going to go down that. He's not going to go down that road again. So I'd be happy if I've completely changed my view about Flanagan. I now think where we are in the state we're in, he is 100% by far outweighs any other person's name you can put up.
Mate, I mean, you know, honestly, I know what Donny's saying about Josh Hannay and John Morris and all that. I mean, these guys are good players, but we don't need an untried, like, you know what I mean, first grade coach. I mean, I know Morris obviously had some time at Cronulla, but we need someone tried, true, and tested.
Yeah, those guys are desperate, aren't they? Those Hannay and Josh Morris, they're desperate for a club.
Yeah,
they want a club.
Flanay's the man. I'm telling you, Flanay's the man. He'll do it for us. It might take time, but he'll do it.
And he always got his teams to the semis.
If the Dragons board contacted Flanay, do you reckon he'd take it? I reckon he'd take it. If they ring him up, he'd take it.
Seabolt said that, you know, he was happy for Flanay to go and take the first grade.
They all say that.
But mate, honestly, I know myself, right? I reckon that he's said that he's not going to chase it, but if St George come to like a mixed eight, then he'll take it. You know what I mean?
For sure.
So why aren't we apathetic board? Bloody hell! He's the best guy for us. Get us out of a pickle.
Look, like Donny said, Rob, he should have already had the job ages back.
He's got to be. He has to be in the strongest position he could be
in. Yeah.
Now the board want him. He's going to be able to come in and go, well, I want this, I want this, I want this. And the board are going to have to say, okay.
Yep, 100%.
I like the way he analyzes games. In Fox commentary, he's very smart, and he's got a very good football line, and that's what we need.
Yeah.
Do you think he'd take it, Jesse, if he was asked? Do you think he'd jump at it or go no?
I reckon he would take it. I reckon
he'd take it.
To go back and coach again.
He's like the players we want to sign too. He's got a checkered background, so he'll fit perfectly.
And he'll attract players. I think
he will attract players. He will attract players.
He'll have young blokes at Cronulla. He'll have young blokes at Manly. He'll have them all over the place. He'll know them all.
He might bring his son.
Paul Allen. We got the best.
He had a good game at Resi's today. Kyle Flanagan, he had a good game in Resi's today. So, again, as we've said last week, you can be a good player in reserves. It doesn't translate into the big game.
No.
We've seen that with our young forwards. Billy Burns doesn't translate. Zane Musgrove doesn't translate. Ben Murdoch, Masilla doesn't translate. They run 200 metres in reserve grade. They come up to first grade in 150. The new coach has got to do something about that as well.
Hey, Big T, Donny's going to kill me for talking too much, but look, I saw so much potential in the game tonight against Penrith.
Oh, so did I.
I really did. It was the best game that we played in a long, long time. Forget.
But I'm just sick of saying that we played well, but we didn't win.
I know, but mate, I saw.
It's getting beyond a joke. When the
coach is that part of that, like that acceptance of mediocrity? We've been so used to. We've been so used to awful that mediocre now is. Yes, we were mediocre today. How good is mediocre?
Right. I don't know if we can keep saying without a new coach, without somebody to do something. Oh, it was a good game today, but we lost. It's getting beyond a joke to me.
You still get 0 points for it.
Exactly right.
But I think it's the class of the players that we're up against. I don't think it's mediocrity. I think it's the class of the people that we're playing against.
The effort is there, Puff. The effort is there. I can see the effort in some of the players.
And mate, did you guys notice how fast Penrith play way quicker than the Dragons do in any other game? Did you see how actually quick our players played tonight? That's the fastest.
I said that earlier on. I said that earlier on. We are playing quicker. We are playing quicker.
Way faster than right because Penrith made us play nearly as quick as they were. And we nearly won.
I'm a bit wary that tonight could go until 3 a.m. because so far, honestly, we have not discussed this game at all. There's a number of incidents that occurred in this game. A lot of people are starting to talk about the actual game, which is fantastic. But we haven't really touched on them at all. But I did want to just before we do get into talking a little bit about the game, I want to talk a bit more about St George Bank. I'll go to you, Rob. St George Bank deciding to end their 40-year relationship with the club with $1 million per year in sponsorship dollars going away. What is it that you think prompted this decision from the bank?
Oh, look, mate. You know,
And Nate, I have seen your comments several times tonight before you start, and I'll touch on what Nate said after you give your answer, Rob.
mate. Look, whether they see deterioration, whether they see it's a lost cause to them anymore. I mean, you know, the financial sector, the banks obviously are not as what they used to be years and years ago. But, you know, St George Bank have been behind us for that 40 years. And I mean, I've been in the bloody box, the St George Bank box at Cogra, and had a whale of a time, a fantastic time over the years. Very sad. But yeah, I mean, obviously they're seeing our Dragons, our proud Dragons, as not an investment anymore, not a good investment for them anymore. That's why they're pulling out, sadly. So yeah, I mean, what else more can I say, Donny? I mean, other people will probably come up with some more technical reasons than what I will, but they obviously have decided that time's up. You know what I mean? Sadly.
Yeah, I actually think that's the way it's been portrayed in the media. That it's his big thing to do with how badly the Dragons are doing on and off the field, and I don't know that that's necessarily the case. So St George Bank, they are no longer their own entity. They are owned 100% by the Westpac Bank.
Yeah.
So Westpac are the ones that have stepped in and said, we're a business. Like, we've been giving $1 million to the Dragons for 40 years.
Business decision.
Well, what value is it to them to continue doing that? Like, it doesn't matter what the St George Bank do. They could give not a cent to the Dragons, and the St George Bank is always going to be associated with our club because they've been there for so long. They don't need to give us any money for people to associate the St George Bank with our club. So why do they need to give $1 million for something that they're going to get from the community because of their long association anyway? So I think the Westpac Bank have actually stepped in and made a bit of a business decision there. Hasman, you had your hand up for a while. I don't know if that was what you wanted to say, or if there's something different.
No, I was going to sort of address that. I did. So there was something I left out of my heroes and villains rant. Now, in addition to all the sort of the off-field, bullshit that I mentioned, so Jack DeBellin and Barbecue 8, etc. My understanding is also that they weren't too happy about the way that the club's actually being run. Apparently they've got a bit of an issue with management as well, so which absolutely wouldn't bloody surprise me. I mean, I reckon there's more to it than what we're saying. But the thing I was going to just sort of mention is I kind of had an idea for assuming that Happy Dragon is no more after next year, which you would have to think he would be. I do actually have an idea for our new mascot, and I do say this somewhat with my tongue inside my cheek. Now, do you remember the Never-Ending Story? There's a dragon in that called Falcor, who was a luck dragon. So maybe we could get Falcor on board.
Always a possibility, mate. But yeah, I think you also pointed out something there that it's going to continue. The actual sponsorship's going to continue until the end of 2024. So it's not something that's ending immediately either. So it is going to, the St George Bank's still there for a while yet, and they've jumped in and got a little bit carried away.
Bring back Stanley Steeler.
Yeah, Jesse's got an interesting
Hell,
suggestion there.
Steele
But,
adventure.
Chloe
Ste-
backs me up too. Coco.
Definitely. Why not? Why not? Love Stanley the Steeler. Just love him.
Why
Yeah,
don't we
we
just get Mick Foster as, Puff the Magic Dragon?
Oh, that's good too.
Now you're talking.
I'd be down for that. Yeah,
I'll
Yeah.
do
100%.
it. I'll do it. Yeah,
Stanley was the only mascot to get
I'm
sent
the
off.
Magic Dragon, mate. I like it, Matty. Might have got me a job. No, but
But-
seriously, boys, like I said, losing that dragon is it's massive for us. As I said, I've seen the dragon roughly on the field for 30 years or whatever. And as you said, Donny, that's St George Bank. That they can withdraw their sponsorship. The St George Bank is always going to be associated with the St George Illawarra Dragons Footy Club. It's just been their part of the St George bloody thing for forever. So whatever.
Well,
sponsorship we
Stephen
now
Bates,
get-
I think it was, that said that they're only actually withdrawing as the major sponsor. They could still, they haven't always been the major sponsor. They could still stay on as a sleeve
Well, Ryan,
sponsor.
Ryan Webb did say that, which could be, like you said, a financial thing from the Westpac Bank pulling it down because they don't want to put the money in, but everyone's making it out, just the club and the players and all that. It might be more a financial reason that the bank can't be giving us $1 million anymore. So the Westpac Bank could have been pulling them out and saying you can't do it. So if we still have this, the St George Bank used to just be on the side of the jersey from memory when we had Newmans and Penfolds. And we still had, I think, there might have been a Dragon, I can't really remember. But I guess what I'm saying is whatever sponsorship we do get, say a tyre company, you can't have a bloke running around the field with a tyre, bloody Randy's face. Whoever our mascot
Like
is, just
Blake
gonna
Laurie, you mean?
Yeah.
Michelle
that's
and
not
Tyre.
nice.
It's not,
That's
sorry,
not
Blocker.
nice.
I don't mean it. I love you.
Well,
That's
Donny,
a
if you
terrible
didn't
thing
say
to
it, I was
say.
gonna.
But yeah, I've seen them Happy Dragon forever. I can't even imagine. I just can't see anything else. I don't know what the hell's going to happen. But I'll quickly just ask you guys a question. If we play well in 2024 and we make the finals, and we don't have any players doing, don't laugh at me, right? I'm just trying to throw a scenario out there. Just to say we did make the finals and we played really well and that there was no off-field drama. Is it possible that the St George Bank would stay on if we lift the whole profile from the gutter where we are at the moment? Or are they going to definitely be gone even if we won a premiership? Just say, we win the grand final.
Mick, I might give that one to Coco, but before I do, I'll just say, I don't know if you saw the game day video today, but you're welcome in Fantasyland anytime, mate.
Thanks, Dottie.
Coco, what do you think? If the Dragons were to go on and make finals and win a premiership, do you think the bank will change their mind?
Maybe. I don't actually know why they're actually. It's a sad thing with that because I'm thinking about Happy Dragon myself. Going, all the kids will like, what happened with him? But
well, Nate's actually saying that Westpac are going to, like, the St George Bank will be dead. The Westpac are actually going to kill off the St George Bank and they won't exist anymore. So I don't know whether, that's true. But,
move my bank.
well, you'll just become a Westpac customer just by default. Okay.
Oh, well, I'm hoping we do make the finals and win and, one of those comeback stories, but I don't know. It's a cruel world in this rugby league era, isn't it? It's just a cruel world. I just don't know anymore.
No, absolutely. All right. Well, let's move into some moments of the match, and I don't want to spend too much on it because everyone saw the match. It happened not all that long ago, but probably the biggest moment in the match was a kick that went down. Matty Feeney tapped the ball and dropped the ball. Sloan picked it up and thought that it was a knock on. The referee said play on. Then he took off, beat two players, sprinted away, looked like he was running off with the prize, and the referee changed his mind and decided that, oh no, that was a knock on after all. Talk us through this moment and how big of a moment do you think it was?
Oh, it was absolutely huge in the context of the game. But at that point, we basically saw what I think would have been probably a 12-point turnaround. with Penrith basically scoring on, I think it was that set from the ensuing restart. But so just as exactly as you just described it, Sloane was off to the bloody races. And the referee has said, play on initially. Then I think the touch he's got in his ear and said no, it went forward. And I mean, even the bloody commentators were saying it was bullshit.
And the ref also has man was using his hand saying it went backwards as well.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, if the referee was, Chris Sutton was right there, he was right in line with it, saw what happened. His touch he's got in his ear, he should have just told the touch judge to shut the fuck up.
As they do consistently. I've been a referee myself. I was a referee for 10 years, and the number of times the touch judge gave me a call and I've gone, no, I've seen it and you're wrong. Like, the referee is the one that's in charge. So anyone blaming the touch judge, no, it's 100% up to the referee. The referee saw it, had clear view of it. The touch judge probably gave him a call, and he's, for whatever reason, said, you know what, I'm not 100% sure. Touch judge has told me that it's a knock on. He's probably in a better position. I'm going to go with his call. But
someone's right on bloody top.
Right there.
But there's a possibility that maybe the touch judge's influence, combined with the fact that Tyrell Sloane actually stopped momentarily, maybe planted that seed of doubt. I think Sloane thought it was a knock on. He waited a few seconds for the call, and when it wasn't a call to knock on initially, that's when he's fucked off down the field. And then it's got a call back after that. I think he kind of gave himself away to a degree. If he keeps going and scores, then the bunker probably has a look at it, and I think that gets ruled a try every day of the week.
Well, Sloane gave it up, but Stephen Crichton also stopped. No one was like the number one rule when you're 6 years old and you first start playing rugby league, play to the whistle. Play to the whistle. Neither Sloane nor Crichton did. And then Sloane was the first one to realise that the whistle hadn't come, took off downfield. He was away. It was only James Fisher-Harris coming across in cover. Sloane was going to burn him. He was going to score a try. Like, let that play out and then go back and check it. Like, that to me seems the logical thing that Chris Sutton should have done in this scenario. Let it play out. Let's see what happens if they don't score. If he gets dragged down, he gets tackled, then we'll come back and I'll call it a knock on. No dramas. But let it play out like he did. Like he called it knock back. He changed his mind after Sloane had made a fucking break. Like, it's just a horrible look, I think, for the officials. It's again another incident where Dragons fans can get their back up, get their tail up, and say we've been absolutely robbed by the referees. To be fair, I'm not a big Chris Sutton fan, but I thought apart from that moment, had a pretty decent game. I thought his officiating was fair. I thought he came up with some really good, tough calls. Again, some against us, some for us, but I thought he had a pretty good game apart from that one key moment. And that's all it takes. You have that one bad moment as a referee, and that's all the fans are going to want to talk about. And I think Dragons fans will be talking about that one for a while. Jesse?
Yeah, I'm surprised. Like, why wasn't that challenged? Like, we
that was
still
probably
have the
my
challenge
next
up our
question.
sleeve. And then again, how often do you see a touch judge make a call like that? They're quiet for most games during the year, and they say one little thing, and the referee agrees with them. But what the hell's going on there? The referee touch judges, they're very quiet all season, and they come out and do that, and then in the context of the game, like we were in the still under the chance.
Daniel Levy in the comments. I actually didn't see this, but Jesse, I'll stay with you since you're talking at the moment. But he says Hunt actually tried to challenge and was told it was too late. Do you recall that happening? I don't remember ever seeing anybody actually trying to challenge.
No, I don't. I didn't see that either. I don't know where that came from because I never saw Hunt approach the referee on that or anyone like that. No, but I think they should have challenged. Yes,
Yeah.
that, even the commentators clearly said it went back.
Well, you don't need a commentator to tell you that, and you know, even a commentator, who cares? The commentators are no different to us. The commentators are just fans of the game that are watching it and happen to be lucky enough to be talking about it. You or I could be a commentator, Jesse. You know, it's not a very difficult job. It's something that a lot of fans can actually do. You don't need to be an expert on the rules in order to be a commentator. And I think we've seen that a number of times. But yeah, I think it was quite obvious to anybody who saw it that it was clearly knocked backwards. Like, it wasn't close. It was definitely backwards. The touch judge who said it was a knock on was 100% wrong and should be sacked. But the way that they handled it, I think overall was poor from the officials. And the fact that the Dragons didn't challenge a clear that was clearly wrong. And I think did the Panthers score from that set? Yeah, so they scored
they
from
scored,
that set.
yeah. I think they scored, yeah.
Turning point.
12-point turnaround.
Don-
12-point turnaround in a
So what
game
was the
that was
score?
that close.
What was the score, Donny, when Sloan picked up the ball and made the break before he was going to score? What was the score right at that point when he picked up the ball?
I think it was 12-all, wasn't it?
12-all,
It
right.
was 12-all, so that would have made it 18-12
Yeah.
the Dragons.
And they could have-
Instead,
they
we're 18-12 behind.
As you said, they could have made a very different perspective from the Panthers players mentally if Sloan had actually scored that try, and Lomax would have obviously kicked it because it would have been under the pass. They could have definitely mentally changed the Panthers players and affected our players.
I was
Yeah, change the game.
Donnie and Mick. I was dumbfounded by it. I was watching it with my wife, and she was saying to me, "Oh, they must have used their challenge already because they haven't challenged." Like, we're sitting there going, "Why aren't they challenging?"
No,
Yeah,
but when we did use our challenge, it was well worth it, though, wasn't it, Rob?
Billy Burns.
No, no. But it happened with Bud Sullivan when he got held down in that game. I can't remember, North Queensland Cowboys, or whatever it was, the game we played. And he got held down, or in the tackle, and he got the sin bin for 10 minutes. We didn't challenge.
Well, we got told in that instance, so Ben Hunt went up and asked to challenge and got told he wasn't allowed to, because holding down in the tackle was the sole discretion of the referee, and the bunker was not allowed to rule on that, so they weren't allowed to challenge it.
Yeah, but this one was crazy, right?
Yeah, this one in this game, I mean, that they should have challenged it, and for whatever reason they didn't. Chloe, another big moment in the match, probably something that happened a bit earlier than this incident was Nathan Cleary twinged his hamstring. He went off the field. A big loss for the Panthers. Do you think that's the reason why the Dragons were actually so close? That the fact that Cleary went down, or do you think the Dragons played well enough that they would have been close regardless of if he had continued?
Oh, I think a bit of both. I think, I think the Panthers with Cleary are very strong, and they still have strong players. In half of them were in New South Wales Blues. So, but it was just good luck. But then I saw good bits and I saw bad bits. And you know what? I think everyone tried their best. But, our draw's not getting better. We've got the Rabbitohs next week. But you know what? They tried. We made mistakes. But, one day, fingers crossed, we'll win. Fingers crossed soon. Come on, boys. Come on. Come on.
Yeah. No, all right, Jesse, probably the last moment from the match. We all know what happened, but one of the big incidents, I think, in the match was a long stoppage in the game in the second half when Jack de Belin went down very solidly. There was a lot of concern, particularly from Moses Mbai amongst others, but good to see Jack de Belin up and walking towards the end of the game, but looks like he might miss the next game against the Rabbits.
Yeah, he's actually been classed as a category 1, so he's automatically out the week after we've got a bye. So that's actually coming at probably a good time. So he only misses the one game, but he'll leave us short in the middle of the field with his rock solid defense. But yeah, I was gravely concerned when he went down. people wasn't obviously the fault of the Panthers player was Lindsay Smith. He just I thought Jack just went in too low and copped the hip of Smith, and yeah, I was really worried when he really got down. And he's not a bloke that lies down, and he never stays down for that long. And yeah, to have him stretch it on off the field, and I think I speak for all Dragons fans that we were extremely worried and hoping that Jack was okay. Like you never want to see any player like that. Like, and to see Moses and by step in and address the side, or I don't know if he said like we're gonna do this for Jack or we're giving him space. I don't know what he said, but I think that was a great sign of what Mbai did there. Step up and show his experience, and but it's just good to see that Jack was up and about in this rooms up towards the back end of the game, and yeah, he was it was just good to see him in good spirits, and hopefully we can get him back soon. But actually scripts it well, because his next game back would be his 200th game, and it's going to be against the Warriors in Wollongong in a couple of weeks, so couldn't be scripted much better. But hope you well, Jack, and hope you get better soon. But all the best, and yeah, it's great to see you up and about.
Again, with Category 1 symptoms, talking about de Bellin's next game definitely being, you know, the Warriors game. I mean, I wouldn't be going there just yet. We saw with Max Feeney a couple of seasons ago that he got what looked a rather innocuous knock, and he missed 10 weeks with concussion symptoms. So you do have to get through all the protocols. You have to show that you're not suffering symptoms, and I would hope that the Dragons, despite the fact that Jack is obviously a very important player for us, that they take every precaution possible when we're talking about a potential brain injury. And you know, if he's not right, if he's not 100%, then give him another week, give him another week until he's 100% right. So I hope that you're right, Jesse, and I hope that he is back for the Warriors game, and at all what is just a big scare, because it was certainly terrifying to see Jack down there motionless on the ground for a long period of time. Them being quite concerned about neck issues and potential spinal issues. And getting him off the field, trying to keep him as steady as possible while they got him off, and it was all very very scary. And as you said, it was great to see him up on the feet and back on the bench, join the boys on the bench for the last few minutes. So all signs at the moment point that it's all pretty good. But yeah, certainly some scary scenes for sure. Puff. I know you don't tend to know a lot about the lower grades from time to time, but today in the New South Wales Cup, we had a couple of guys that weren't playing in the NRL, in young Toby Couchman and also Junior Amone. I certainly haven't heard anything about either of those two being injured, but they didn't play for the Dragons in the New South Wales Cup game. Can you think of any reason why they wouldn't play in that game?
No, mate, no, none at all. It's just that I was surprised they weren't playing as well. So I could have asked you the same question, because you'd probably know the answer, but you're asking me. Yeah, I mean, I don't think Amono's injured, and I don't think Couchman's injured either. Maybe there might have a niggling thing or something that prevent them from playing, but I don't think there's any disciplinary reasons why they weren't there.
Yeah, Hasman, you actually might have posted in the group chat a possible reason why the Dragons might be resting Junior.
Not sure it was me. I think it might have been Jesse that actually came up with it from memory.
Just run with it and claim credit like every other journalist does, mate. You're in the media now.
Yeah. So. Now, so basically what I think it is Junior Amone actually has his court hearing on Friday. It was Friday, Friday the 9th. Yeah, Friday the 9th, which is this coming Friday. So I'm wondering if he might have been given the week off just to sort of, you know, get his sort of head in the right space for that. I don't think he could have played with that hanging over his head anyway. So even if he's not injured, I think they probably would have rested him just for that.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, and I think that's been a concern of a lot of Dragons fans all season is that there's a fair bit going on outside of footy with Junior this season. He's got a pretty serious charge hanging over his head, even though the no fault stand down policy has been lifted. It's still got to be something that's playing on his mind. So yeah, it may be a good move again from Ryan Carr just to give him a little bit of space, get him away from footy for a week or two, and get this court case out of the way. I don't know. It seems every time they go to court, it lasts for about 5 minutes and they adjourn it for another 3 months. But hopefully something actually happens at this particular hearing, and we get some sort of movement towards getting this sorted one way or the other, because we don't want this lingering through next season as well. We need Junior. He's a talented footballer, young footballer with a lot of ability. Hopefully he can clear his name or otherwise, and either we can move on from Junior, or we can look to support him and bring him back to being the best footballer that he can be, because I think he's got an enormous amount of ability, and I'd love to see him putting his best foot forward and maybe getting a little bit less criticism from Dragons fans. But Chloe,
and we wish him all the best on it too, because I sort of run into the family every now and again on weekends.
We always wish him the best, mate. But we don't want to sort of we don't want to jump in when legal matters are concerned in terms of professing guilt or innocence or anything like that. We do certainly hope for the best for Junior and his family, and hope that it all goes well. But I want to get it sorted as soon as possible. I don't want another adjournment for another 3 months. Let's move it forward and find out exactly what the outcome's going to be, one way or the other. Obviously, like you, Mick, I am hoping that it's going to be a positive outcome for Junior, but if it's not, again, we just need to move on. We need to move past it. We need to.
The family's very grateful for the support of the Mad Dragons podcast and the All Fired Up Dragons one as well. They know how much we love Junior and support him at the family. So I just pass on their thanks for their grateful for the support that we showed them.
Jackson's data says it's only a readiness hearing case. It will drag on for months yet. So that's kind of my expectation. I'm not surprised by that. I definitely want to get it sorted. But we've seen with cases that are open and shut that have dragged on for 2 or 3 years. The court system's ridiculous. The amount of time that this drags on. But yeah, in any case, hopefully. It does get resolved in the not too distant future. But sticking with the lower grades, Chloe, the reserve grade game today and the Jersey Flegg, it was none from 3 for the Dragons, losing in both, in particular in the New South Wales Cup, because that's where the next crop of NRL players come from, getting beaten 30 points to 10 by a pretty strong Panthers team. But I mean, does that fill you with a lot of confidence in terms of who we've got to come in and replace some of the players that might not be performing at NRL level?
Not really. I think if I believe that all the Panthers grades are very strong, and didn't they all win all grades? So I don't think so. I think that it wasn't their day. I'm hoping maybe some of them can come up. So like Trey Stewart, some other people might be able to come up in the future. We just have to build them and develop them. It wasn't their day today. So yeah, it's a shame it was 0 from 3, but yeah.
Yeah, I think it's great to see 3 games of footy at the one venue on the one day on a Sunday afternoon. It would have been fantastic, but to go there and see your team lose all 3 games, maybe not so great. But I think that the Jersey Flegg boys, that they looked at different times like they were in the game and some sort of hope, but in the end, going down. Campbell Watchers down in the he's been a little bit of a surprise packet, I think, for the Dragons in the under-21s. Scored another double today. It's definitely 2 in a row. It might be 3 in a row for Campbell in terms of doubles in the Jersey Flegg comp. Unfortunately, got those 2 pretty late to add a bit of respectability to the scoreline. But again, it's a lot of changes that they seem to be ringing week in, week out in that side, getting a lot of different players experience in different positions at that level. So a very, very young side. I'm not sure they give a rat's ass about results, to be quite honest, in that Jersey Fleet competition based on the way they're picking that side. But you know, it's good to see some young blokes always getting an opportunity, and hopefully they can put enough results together to maybe make finals towards the back end of the year. But I don't think that's the ultimate aim for the club. In terms of the reserve grade, I talked to Mick before about the players that didn't drop back and play New South Wales Cup for the Dragons, whereas Penrith, they had Tyrone Peachy, they had Jamin Salmon. Basically, everyone who didn't play NRL dropped back and played in this New South Wales Cup side. It made them an incredibly strong unit. Dylan Egan scored a try for the Dragons. I haven't actually seen any highlights or stats or anything of this game, but it's great to see young Dylan Egan again getting across the line. He seems to be a real line break merchant in New South Wales Cup level, and an 18-year-old edge forward. I think there's some signs that he's going to be in and around that NRL side in the next year or two. So it's a position where we showed today with Billy Burns making a few errors that maybe having a guy like Dylan Egan waiting in the wings, maybe he might be elevated to the top grade sooner rather than later with the way some of our other options are going there. But Jesse, I might go to you. The Dragons have actually been on a little bit of a signing spree of late with a lot of young players in the last week or two, most of them from the Andrew Johns Cup team, so under 16. So they're all very young, so try not to get too excited about these players, but always nice to see a few signings coming through. But the first one of them, not from the Andrew Johns Cup team, is Charlotte Basham. Is made the New South Wales CHF under-18s girls team as well. Do you know much about Charlotte?
I can't say I do, sorry.
So yeah, she's a player that's played in the Tarsha Cup system and is coming through our ranks. But yeah, really nice to see her coming through. But a couple from the Andrew Johns Cup side, Jack Talbot has signed a 3-year deal that will keep him at the club throughout junior reps. I thought he was the standout player in our Andrew Johns Cup season this year as a fullback. He's got a lot of ability. His work rate's really good. He's again one of those eyes up players that can sometimes come up with some low percentage plays, but a fantastic player. And looking forward to seeing him work through Howard Matts, Laurie Daly Cup, and SG Ball in years to come. Taylor Humphries is another signing. I might have to ask Stephen Bates about this young fella. He's got a 3-year deal. I don't know much about him at all. I can only assume that he was injured at the start of the year and missed the Andrew Johns Cup season, which is it's only a 5-round comp, so very plausible that he might have been injured at that particular time. And the other signing, Rob, maybe a name that you know. Zane Timmins, the nephew of Sean Timmins. Nice to see a bloke with a bit of family connection. We've had some success with nephews of great centres in the past.
Absolutely, mate. So exciting. Sean Timmins, fantastic player for the Dragons. Mark Gasnier, Morris's. The list goes on over many, many years. So yeah, exciting, mate. Prospect hopefully coming through for us, and hopefully stays with us as well too. So good news.
Absolutely, and I was quite impressed with Zane's defence in the centres, which will come as no surprise to anybody who watched Sean Timmins' career. So I certainly thought Jack Talbot was the more impressive of the players in that particular competition. But I think Zane, a few people saying it's only because his last name's Timmins that he's getting a contract. I don't think that's the case at all. I think he was very, 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 very skilled, very good defensively, and scored some good tries, ran some good lines. He does some really good things that you look for at that age. Obviously, he's got a long way to go. It's a long way from under 16s to the NRL, and I think we all We all know and understand that, but it's those progressions that we look forward to seeing over the next 3 or 4 years through our lower grades players, and just a couple of names to maybe keep an eye on if you get an opportunity at the start of the season during the summer months. Before the season starts, all these young blokes are all out there putting their wares in the red V jumper, and it's a good chance for fans to get down and have a look at them and see the future of the club and see what they've got to offer. So yeah, that's all good. All right, Mad Lad has sent through a question, Jesse, and I know he did send through another question, but I can't find it. I haven't got it written down. But so we'll go with this one. Mad Lad says, do you think Tegan Berry is a chance for game 2 if Isabel Kelly and Tiana Penatani are unavailable?
I'm still scratching my head why they didn't pick it last week. Obviously Tiana Penatani went down with a hamstring strain, and then they lost Isabel Kelly when she copped the elbow to the throat the other night as well. So I think that would have been the logical choice. They chose to go with Talia Fumano just playing the centres, pushing Jess Surge to the wing, but I think they would have been much better having a straight out specialist winger and leave Surges at centre, where I think she's more damaging, and Fui as that utility player who can chime in and play a few positions. I think that would have been much better. Yeah, we'll have to wait and see what happens to Isabel Kelly. I think she was discharged from hospital yesterday. That was a great sight to see. Again, when you speak about Jack Devellin tonight, that was a sorry sight as well, seeing Isabel Kelly struggling to breathe and coughing up blood in that women's origin game the other night. From the press conference from Kylie Hilda, the New South Wales coach, she thinks Tiana will be available, but we'll have to wait and see in the coming weeks whether she makes that recovery, because the next game is in 3 weeks. Yeah, I personally would pick her, but again, that's at the end of the day, it's up to Kylie Hilda. But
personally, I think they got the balance of the whole New South Wales backline wrong. I think they picked 2 halfbacks in the halves, which, again, both independently fantastic players. I think Southwell and Pearson are great organisers around the field, but they're both 7s. Like, neither of them two is a 6. So you've got 2 7s. That never works. You've got two players trying to organise and no one actually creating, and I think that really hurt them. Particularly when you've got some fantastic strike players out wide, like Kelly, like Surges, and I don't think they got enough quality early ball from 2 7s that were trying to sort of manipulate things around the field. So I think their whole backline was just a little off. That they had no wingers. They had a couple of centres out on the wing, and then they changed things around, moved a 5'8" out into the centres. They had so many players playing out of position. And in the end, they got punished for Queensland, the better team on the night once again. And now they're, at the end of the day, Jesse, the women's State of Origin series is a 2-match series. It's not really a 2-match series. It's one game that goes for 140 minutes. So it's not over yet.
Well, New South Wales now have to win by 9 or more to retain the shield.
Well, they start the game behind by 8. Yeah, so it's like they start the second half of the one game behind by 8.
So yeah, they're uphill battle, but the players are quietly confident that they can turn it around. Like, they haven't played any top line footy since the World Cup. Last year's Origin, they were in the middle of the 2 NRLW competitions, and they played some footy. This year, they're a bit rusty. They've only played the BMD Queensland Premiership and the New South Wales Premierships. They're playing park football at best, but there's been talk about how they schedule these around, maybe having NRLW earlier in the year to accommodate that. But we'll have to see what's pans forward. But yeah, be interesting to see what happens with New South Wales going forward. But when I saw Tiana Penatani pull out with the injury, I thought Tegan Berry had to be an inclusion in there. But again, Kylie Hill already isn't, went with that option.
At the end of the day, the answer to Mad Lad's question is, if New South Wales have any brains, then Tegan Berry would have been in the side all along. She didn't need injuries to be the best winger in the entire comp. She is the best winger in the comp. She's a fastest woman on two legs that plays rugby league. She should be in the team, and it's absolutely ridiculous that after we got a few injuries, she still wasn't brought in. What the hell is New South Wales doing? They keep making the same mistakes, whether it's women's, whether it's men's, regardless, they just do the wrong, stupid, dumb things and don't pick the best players in their best positions. And yeah, they keep getting punished for it by a Queensland team that does pick the best players at the best time in their best positions. It's not that hard, but New South Wales keeps stuffing it up. So hopefully we will see Tegan Berry in the side, but we might wrap it up pretty soon. But Puff, just going back to the Dragons, we've got South Sydney coming up this week. What changes are you expecting to see from the Dragons heading into this game against South?
Well, the big loss will be Jack. That's the first thing that we all Dragons fans would be worried about, and the massive work rate in defence that Jack does for us. I don't know who would be taking his spot, and I'm pretty sure whoever does come in, will do the best job they can do. But they just won't be doing the job that Jack does. And if I think of Jack, he won't have any chance of playing, will he?
No, he's already ruled out for the next game.
Okay, so in saying that, who do we get to pick from to come in and take his place then? Musgrove,
Michael Molo seems
Couchman,
Molo seems the obvious option. Jesse mentioned him at lock, but
he actually,
I'd love to see Couchman just straight in, start at lock.
Yeah, well, Couchman looks
play
a little
60
bit
minutes.
I think his build's a little bit similar to Jack. He's a bit of tall. He's a tall boy. He's a bit of a big lad. And he's got a pretty good work rate. So I would probably pick Couchman to take Jack's place. And after the game that we put tonight, our players should be very, very proud of themselves, because I reckon there would have been a lot of people that wouldn't have given us even a 12-point chance with the Panthers. I mean, we're playing a team coming first. Sure, Cleary, I heard you ask Chloe earlier, would Cleary have made a bigger difference? If we'd have kept Jack on the field, I would have said no. I think, buddy, we would have still had a good account of us if Jack was still out there, but probably lucky that Cleary did go off. But in saying that about South, I think that game we played so well. We played really quick football only because Penrith were playing so fast. We were forced to play at a speed that we don't normally play at. That's just my perception of what I saw. But in saying that, South are similar again. So that hit out for Penrith has really put us in a good step to face South. And I think we might not win, but I hate to say it, but it'll be close again. I don't think we're going to get rolled by anybody. I think we're going to be within this 12-point, 6-point ball game.
Yeah, I think I'm more scared of South than I was of Penrith, to be honest. I think where we struggle is against teams that have a fast number 9. That team seems to be something that always gives us headaches, and we don't seem to have any defence to it. With Penrith, Mitch Kenny, no real threat out of 9 for us today, and Damien Cook, very different set of circumstances, and all of a sudden that middle has to tighten up and just creates, like, we don't seem to know how to defend against a fast 9. We saw it, Jeremy Marshall-King at the Dolphins a couple of weeks ago. Just, it's those fast 9s that always fuck with our heads, and we don't seem to know how to defend against it.
And Cook's extremely, as you say, he's extremely fast. He's got good vision, good kicking, good passing left and right. He's a very, very good player, Damien Cook. And the best way to probably defend Cook is probably the good old coat hanger from 75. Going low, knock him out. No, I'm only kidding. No,
do the Terry Lamb. Just send Junior Amono or Moses and Moses and is probably the better one. Send him out there, big, thick body out there. Just sorry, that was a complete accident. Cook, he will be the troublemaker for us, because he's an extremely good player and very, very hard to handle. So we have to tighten that middle.
around that ruck. And especially when they get 10 out or even 5 out near the line, Damien Cook is always going to score a try.
And
He'll
Latrell,
do the dummy. He's done it all his
Latrell's due
career.
back too, yeah.
Yeah. So the players don't fall for the dummy from Cook.
Yeah.
Even if he's 70 out, don't fall for it. Go for Cook every time.
Yeah, well,
Cook's like potential origin spot too. Like
well, exactly.
talk about him. Yeah,
He's pushing for an
April.
origin spot. There's some talk about Mitchell being an option at fullback instead of Teddy. So there's going to be a few people in that South team that are really going to be looking to impress to push their claims for their best rep opportunity. But I might go to you, Rob, as the newest member of the Mad Dragons podcast panel for the final word on anything to do with this Penrith game or anything to do with the game coming up against South that you want to discuss.
well, just thanks for the opportunity of being on the panel. Fantastic. So yeah, thank you. Look, again, I take the positive. The Penrith game, I thought I could see an improvement in us. I know I've had close games in the last X amount of weeks. But again, up against the Penrith team, at Penrith as well too, right? In front of their home crowd. Had that bloody Panthers chanting thing going off half the bloody time in the game as usual. I just thought it was a great effort, to be honest with you. And I'm just the Dragons, like Mick down there. I was laughing about coaches before, Mick. Harry Barth was a coach back in years gone by. Love Harry Barth back to coaches, mate. He certainly shake things up with the board. But off subject, sorry, Donny. But I just can see a bit of improvement, mate. And we can take that in the South game. As long as we're in the fight and we show up like we did tonight. Like Mick said, even if we lose, if we show up tonight and we've lost by 6 or 12 or whatever, I guess it's better than getting dumped. You know what I mean? Unfortunately, yeah, we were in last place, but I look at it only one direction, mate, on the way up. So we can only go on the way up now. So
yeah, I think you're on the money there, mate. We are on the way up. I think that we've under Ryan Carr, I think we've improved in every game. I know we lost. We won against the Roosters and we lost against the Dolphins. I actually think we were better against the Dolphins than we were against the Roosters, and I think we were better again tonight. I think we're continuing to show improvement week in, week out, despite the fact results are not going our way. I think we continue to play like that. We will get enough wins to not get the wooden spoon. I know we're sitting in last right now, and we've got South next week, which doesn't look good either, but yeah, I think there are a few easier games to come, and if we continue to play the way that we are now, trust in the systems that Carr is putting together, I think we're going to get some wins, and we're going to get up the ladder. We might not make the 8, we might not do anything overly special this season, but I don't think we're going to win the wooden spoon. So that's. It's a sad time when that's all the solace you can supply to Dragons fans. I wish it was something more that we could give you and a little bit more certainty, because at the moment we are sitting in last, and it's hard to see when we get off the bottom because now we're chasing some of those bottom teams that are actually starting to play better footy themselves. So it's scary times, but I think we're playing good enough footy that we won't run last. Fingers crossed. Hopefully that's right,
Donny,
because I'm often not.
So, Donny, do you think that Ryan Carr is maybe a long shot possibility to be asked to take it on? And if he did get asked, do you think would Ryan Carr take it?
I think that's a terrifying possibility, to be honest. I know that I do like listening to him. I do like a lot of the things that he's doing, but just history repeating. Like the last time we hired an underqualified interim coach because he had a couple of wins, we ended up with Mary for 7 years. Like McGregor was not the right man for the job, but when he was interim coach, I think he won 7 or 8 out of 10. He lost his first game, but after that he won like 7 or 8 out of 10. Had a really good record. We then gave him a 3-year deal, made him the head coach, and the rest is history. Obviously, it didn't work out. So I'd be terrified of making that mistake again. I'd love to be able to separate that from Ryan Carr and make that decision independently, but it just plays on my mind, mate. I'm not overly comfortable with that decision, but it may happen. The club
So
have done it
I'd love
before.
to see Donny. I'd love to see a Flano come in and a Ryan Carr learn under a Flano, and might be 4 or 5 years or whatever, and then we could see the best of Ryan Carr after that. But too tough a task, mate. You know.
Oh, it's a big deal. Look, it's a big job for our club. Would scare anybody, Rob. It's a big club with a massive history and just goes too far back, and people know what the fans how they can go, and it'd be terrifying. Look, I think Rolls actually might have got a little bit of cold feet. I don't know, but he may have seen the enormity of it and thought, oh, I might back off. But from as you said before, Donny, what I said, Ryan Carr, I like him. I like the way he talks, the way he seems to have a good relationship with the players at training, and I just like him. But
Hey Mick, what about this, mate? Bloody Hook was as boring as batshit, and now at least we've got some personality with Ryan Carr, right? Some passion.
yeah, absolutely, mate.
You know, like Hook was just as boring as anything.
Yeah.
Well, even when you
I'm surrounded by people that think that is relevant. Jesse loves that Ryan Carr's passionate. I don't
I love that.
He hated how boring Hook was, and now I've got Rob as well. It fucking doesn't matter.
Wayne Bennett's won a company, and he was a man of a few words as well.
He always looks like he's losing. Bennett looks like he was the game 3 weeks ago. The 30-0. The Dolphins were in front 13-0. And
He
the
always
camera,
has that same face.
and he just sat there
He's
looking
like,
down the camera going, no, I think we're losing today.
He just sits there. Yeah.
It's just, I don't know how Bennett inspires anybody, but he obviously does it by the aura of 7 premierships. But, you know,
well, he did it before he had 7 premierships too. Like he's always had that ability to, like, he's just
He's a player, man.
wonderful brain of the game. Like he just understands how the game works. Over, you know, what, 87 he started. So how many decades is that? How many, like, go back and watch rugby league in 1987 when Wayne Bennett took the Raiders to the grand final, and, you know, compare that to how rugby league is played today, and just understand how adaptable Wayne Bennett has been over the years to change and move with the times. Melbourne brought in wrestling and he fucking hated it. He still hates it. He thinks it's the worst thing that has ever happened to rugby league. But he said, you know what, if that's the rules, if that's the rules that I have to play in, then I'm going to have to teach my team to do it. And I have to teach my team to do it better than anybody else.
He has a great relationship with players, Donny. Bennett, he's a man manager. The players, his relationship with the players was second to none. Unbelievable, mate. Off the field, on the field, you know, a huge difference. I mean, that's where Hook, I'm telling you, Hook, I don't think had that, you know what I mean? If we're comparing him to Bennett, that's for sure.
Well, the thing is, Rob, Hook to me was like almost like a carbon copy of a Bennett personality was, but without the premierships. So the aura, so the aura wasn't there. Everyone wants to play for Wayne Bennett. I'm not saying no one wanted to play for Hook, but it just said the difference between Hook and Bennett. Well, the 7 premierships.
You can't compare them.
I think just because Hook talks kind of like Wayne Bennett and looks kind of like Wayne Bennett in the coach's box, I don't think there's any real comparison in terms of the things that they actually say and the things that they actually know and the relationships that they actually build with players. I think it's chalk and cheese. I think you can draw comparisons because they've both got that same, you know, Clint Eastwood drawl, I suppose. But I think there's massive differences between those two as coaches that we've seen. Anyway, we might wrap it up. Sorry, mate.
So who do you want now to take the job?
Flanagan. The same as everyone else, mate. I want Shane Flanagan. I just don't think Flanagan will get the job. Not that I don't think he'll get the job. I don't think he'll want the job. I don't think Flanagan will accept it. I think he'll be exactly the same as Riles and say, thanks for the interest, but I actually don't want the job.
And will it be because he won't get that full
No,
trying to get the
I
football
think it'll
department?
be
Was that
because
the-
he's seen behind the curtain and
Right,
didn't like
okay.
what he saw. Like there's too many issues, there's too many things to sort out at the Dragons that's not an overnight fix. Like it for any coach that comes in, you need commitment, 110% commitment. And I think the Dragons are we are 3 years away from every decision being made correctly over the next 3 years to get us anywhere near being, near the top teams. I think we're a fair way from it.
So who do you
I-
think we get then? Okay, so it won't be Flanagan according to what you.
I think it'll be someone that's desperate for a job. I think
So
if
Ben
someone,
Hornby will it be Ben Hornby?
no, well, I actually think John Morris or Josh Hannay.
John, okay.
I think they're the two that I've got at the top of my list. I don't think won't be Dean Young, won't be Ben Hornby, won't be Shane Flanagan, won't be Des Hasler. And it
Wayne
certainly won't be
Maguire.
Jason Riles.
Donny
Maguire?
Ryan Webb said the other day, right, in the continuous call team.
Yeah, I heard him, mate. I heard that, but
Will you believe him?
No, I 100% believe Ryan Webb. What Ryan Webb said is that the Dragons are interested in Shane Flanagan. The Dragons are interested in Shane Flanagan. 100%. They want Shane Flanagan. He's one of the 4 or
just
5
Shane
coaches
Flanagan
that
won
they're
it.
talking to. So
I get you.
they want Shane Flanagan. I don't think Shane Flanagan wants us.
Yeah.
I think he wants his name to be mentioned. Shane Flanagan wants his name to be mentioned. Shane Flanagan wants to be offered the job. He wants people to know that he is a desirable coach, but he does not want to be at the Dragons. That's my gut feeling. I might be 100% wrong. Maybe you'll come to the club and we'll all get what we want. I really hope Shane Flanagan is the next Dragons coach. I just don't think he will be. I think John Morris, Josh Hannay, I think they are the 2 guys no one's talking about. I think they'll be the guys that end up with a job because they'll be the only ones that want it, that have got any sort of experience, that are anyway halfway decent. I think they'll be the best of a bad bunch. The same as we got when we got Anthony Griffin. Like we went for Craig Fitzgibbon. We went for half a dozen other coaches last time we were trying to get a coach. And at the end of the day, everyone said no. They said the Dragons is a basket case where that they are 3, 4, 5 years away from any sort of success. It's going to take a bucket load of hard work. And at the end of the day, after 3 years of no success, I'm going to get fired and we'll never get another job again. They were right. 3 years ago, they were right. The only ones that wanted the job were desperate people that have been sacked a couple of times, like David Furner, Anthony Griffin, and a rookie coach that had no business putting his hand up for the job in Dean Young. They were the only 3 that were interested in the job 3 years ago. The only 3.
Wasn't Jeff Tooby?
No, was not talked about.
Really?
Neil Henry was spoken about.
Yeah, Neil Henry never got offered the job. They were the only 3.
Wow.
Those 3 were the only 3 that actually got offered the job. And of those 3, they were all interested. But of those 3, Anthony Griffin was clearly the best option.
What happened to Cartwright? Where'd he go?
He's at Brisbane now.
He's still around. Yeah, he's an
Right,
assistant
okay.
coach at the
He's assistant.
Broncos. They're going pretty
Yeah.
well.
Oh, right, okay, yeah.
Right now, I think there's 50 different. I think there's 50 good options out there in the system. There's 50 blokes that I'd be talking to and interviewing. But I think we're going to be left in the same situation. It's going to be a guy that has coached a couple of times before, has maybe had a small taste of an NRL gig, and desperate for another opportunity, desperate for a gig, and will take what's on offer.
100%, because Ryan Webb used the word experience now. So obviously he said that. So it's not going to be a rookie, untried in first grade. So even if it's bloody well 2 games, 6 games, 12 games, I don't know how many, like what you're saying, it's not going to be a rookie. It's not going to be Holby. It's not going to be young. It's going to be something.
Well, John Morris, almost 50 games at the Sharks.
2 years.
He did well.
Yeah, I mean, I think he coached at about 46, 47%. So I don't know whether it's anything to be shooting the lights out and getting too excited about. But That,
Don't be
that's
surprised
the
about Flanagan,
kind of
mate,
guy.
Donny. It could be Flanagan, mate. It could.
I hope
turn
it's
out to
I
be
hope
him.
it's Flanagan, mate. I really hope it's Flanagan. I
It'd be
really hope
nice.
that I'm wrong. And you guys know I say a lot of bullshit, and most of it turns out to be wrong. So
Well, we did
maybe
with
I'll
the
be wrong
Flanagan.
again.
Well, you weren't wrong about tonight. We competed with Penrith.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
No, it was good tip, Donny. You said we're going to be competitive in the game and all that.
I said we were going to be
We're gonna
fit
get
too.
smacked.
So I mean, again,
Good to see you and Rob too, by the way. Good to see you, mate.
Oh, thanks.
And,
Anyway, boys, we've been going. This is probably the longest show we've had all year. So we might call it a night there. We've gone from a high of about 100 people watching live. We've got about 15 watching live now. So everyone's in bed. Everyone's had enough of us dribbling shit for one night. So we'll be back on Tuesday. I hope you're back on Tuesday as well, Rob. It's been a pleasure having you.
Thanks, Donny. Thanks, Vic.
We'll
Yes.
see you on Tuesday for Team List Tuesday against the Rabbits. Until then, come on, Dragons fans.
Fire up.
Fire up.
Go Dragons.
fire up.
Good to see you, boys.
See you guys.
See you, Rob. See you, Donny.